All right, thank you very much. We are now going to begin this meeting. This is a special council meeting, and this is for the planning public meeting of May the 27th, 2026. It is just a little bit after 5:30, so we're going to get going. I do have all of our members of council present, including myself, and I apologize for being a few moments late. Just so you know, we actually have traffic in Stayner. Lots of cars, I tell you. Anyway, Council, I have before me the resolution, approval of the agenda. Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby approve the agenda dated May the 27th, 2026 as presented. I'll look this way. Mr. Walker, thank you. And Councillor Deneen, thank you. Are there any questions or amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, I'll call the motion. All in favor? That carries. Thank you very much. At this time, are there any declarations of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof for item number 2 on our agenda? Yes, Mr. MacArthur.
Yeah, I'll have a pecuniary interest in 3.2.
3.2. Okay, thank you very much. Are there any others from our council? All right, seeing none. All right, if anything comes up during the meeting, please bring it forward right away. Our deputy clerk will be sure to handle that for us right away. So council, as this is a public meeting and for the interest of the members of the public that are here, public meetings have been a long-standing tradition here at Clearview that the deputy mayor will assume the chair of this meeting. So I'm going to take item number 3 and pass it over to Deputy Mayor Paul Van Stavern. Paul, you have the floor, and you have a large meeting here ahead of us, so I look forward to it.
Thank you, Your Worship, and welcome everybody tonight. We have 4 items, 4 presentations tonight, so we'll work through it. We'll now initiate the public meeting portion of tonight's agenda. We invite you to comment on the applications being presented tonight and to engage in the process with us. If you wish to be notified of the decision of the Corporation of the Township of Clearview on an application being discussed this evening, please complete a public delegation form and submit it to the Clerk's Department. And the forms are right over there. Is it not? Right over.
Can you hold them up so we can see them?
Okay, so we see them over there. If you want any, please fill one out and you will be provided with information. The views expressed in the public comments are solely those of the individuals providing them and do not reflect the opinions of the township, its agents, or its employees. It is not possible for the township to verify the accuracy of all information provided by the members of the public. The township therefore assumes no responsibility for any inaccurate information that may be contained within the public comments. If you have information that might correct, clarify, or refute any statements contained within the public comments, please forward it to the Township Planning Department. Be advised that your comments or requests to be notified will form part of the public record. Your communication and any personal information therein will be made available to the public unless you expressly request its removal. If a person or public body would otherwise have ability to appeal the decision of the Township of Clearview to the Ontario Land Tribunal, but the person or public body does not make an oral submission at a public meeting or make a written submission before the proposed official plan or zoning bylaw amendment is adopted or passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the Township of Clearview before the proposed official plan or zoning bylaw amendment is adopted or passed, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the OLT, the Ontario Land Tribunal, unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to add the person or public body as a party. The following public meetings will involve a brief presentation by our planning staff, an opportunity for the applicant or their agent to present their application, and a period for public comments or questions, and an opportunity for questions by the planning committee. So those are our official words of wisdom. So we'll now begin with our first meeting with respect to item 3.1, zoning bylaw amendment for file 26 ZBA-06. The applicant is Katie James on behalf of Peter Walton, and it's regarding a property located at 5 Caddo Drive in Clearview. And the planning staff will now start with a brief presentation concerning the application.
Thank you.
You're going to be busy tonight, aren't you?
Yes.
Good girl.
So again, this is public meeting for 26 ZBA 06. Next slide. Here we can see a key map of the subject lands at 5 Caddo Drive. It is in the north end of the township, just outside of Collingwood. Next slide. So the purpose of the application is to request a site-specific amendment to rezone the subject lands from rural to rural exception, to remove the lands from the definition of lot of record and recognize the existing lot frontage and area requirements. The effect of the application is to facilitate development of a single detached dwelling on a undersized lot. Next slide. The following items were submitted as part of a complete application: the application, a cover letter, site plan, and septic details, and all of these are available online. An aerial photo of the property, surrounded mostly by residential use and some environmental protection to the south. And currently the property is vacant. The planning policy, so the official plan designation is rural at the front and greenland, hazard lands at the rear due to a water course going through the rear of the property, and the zoning is rural. Next slide. Here we can see a site plan submitted by the owner of a proposed dwelling and septic with required setbacks. Next slide. Notice of the subject application has been given in accordance with the Planning Act. Notice was mailed out on May 6, 2026, mailing 120 meters, posted to the property on the website, and sent to agencies and departments. Details of the application and any supporting materials have been made available to the public online and have been circulated to the relevant commenting agencies. Any comments that were received have been made published in the public agenda unless they were received after the agenda was made public. Then those will be attached to the recommendation report at a future meeting. Next slide. Just an outline of the review process: when the application received, deemed complete, the public meeting, and the future dates for the recommendation report and notice of passing will be released when ready. Next slide. My contact information for any questions. And I believe that the applicant is here and the owner is online, I believe.
Okay, so you're done your presentation. Thank you, Danielle. Is the applicant or the agent here and wishing to speak? Yes, no? You have somebody you thought would be online, Danielle?
I believe that the owner is online.
I'm online.
Oh,
You have her.
Can you
he's
hear me?
in. There you go.
Okay, we can now see. Do you wish to make any comments, sir?
Yes, if I may. Can you hear me properly?
No, you're reverberating or whatever.
I'm not sure what to do with that. Sorry. That's bad. Isn't it?
Just turn your speakers down, please.
Is that better?
Yeah, a little bit more. Turn it down a little bit more. Try it now.
How's that?
Perfect. Okay.
I can't hear you, but you can hear me. That's good. So,
Okay. That's
thank
just
you,
fine.
Your Honor, and members of council. Yes, this application has been some years in coming. My parents bought this, I'm originally from Toronto. My parents bought this property in 1970. So it's been in the family 56 years. My parents died in 1999, and my brother and I became more aware of it a few years later. So 2010, we actively tried to pursue securing a building permit, given there are houses on both sides, and actually houses on 5 of the 7 lots on the south side of the subdivision. My understanding is it was an archaic subdivision. It had been frozen at some point, I believe, by the province. And, but then recently, 2021, I got notice of an application for variance for one of the surrounding or neighboring properties. So I thought, well, why am I frozen if neighboring properties are now expanding their footprint on their lots and I'm being told no one can build? So So I've been pursuing it for a couple of years recently, did do the pre-consultation, and now have put in the full application, which includes the septic tank details and the site plan and other required information. I consulted with the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority, who I understood thought it was okay, but there are some comments from them. So I spoke with them again today, and I think there are a few outstanding concerns they would like in terms of more detailed mapping of the hazardous land portion at the south end of the lot. But otherwise, it seems to me reasonable that it would be allowed to, that a house, a permit would be possible for a single family home, given it's surrounded by single family homes and is a block or two from Collingwood, and everyone else is built but us. So that's what I'm hoping to do, is to receive approval to proceed with being able to build a single family home. And there may be a hold, I understand today, due to some final concerns from NVCA regarding the actual topography and where the septic site would be placed, septic field. So with
Good.
that, I leave it to you, and thank you for your consideration today.
Thank you, sir. Hang tough. We may have some questions for you. So if you need to turn your speaker up a little bit, if there'll be questions. So at this time, does anybody from the audience wish to make a comment, ask a question, or address the committee with respect to this application? Seeing none, I ask that a second time, and I ask it a third time. So we do not have any requests from the audience. Does a member of this committee wish to ask questions? I'll start at the far end. Councillor Walker.
Nothing, Your Worship, at this time.
Thank you. Councillor Beelan.
Thank you, Your Worship. A couple questions. It doesn't show a well on there. Where are you going to get water for this building?
Sorry. My understanding with the, I did work with two agents in the Collingwood area that do septic tank testing, percolation, et cetera. So I thought in what I forwarded, there was indication that a well was possible on the site. If not, that's an oversight, but I was led to understand that had been tested and forwarded to you.
So would the well be in front of the house? Because the septic looks like it's in the back. I think you answered my second question. Is this an existing septic system or this is a proposed one, right?
And proposed, yeah, the lot is vacant currently.
So I'm wondering why you would go with a traditional septic system when I don't think the NVCA would approve it. You might want to look at ones for a different septic system anyway. I forget what they're called.
Appreciate the advice. I did speak with NVCA a number of times in person, even in October, and speaking to them today, and your planning people, I understand there may be other alternatives that I can look at, so that's acceptable.
Okay, that's all I got.
Thank you, Councillor Deneen. Councillor Beelan. Councillor Deneen.
Thank you. Just curious, the size of the house that the actual square footage of the house that you're proposing to put there?
Nothing has been finalized, but with whatever would be a modest home, 2 stories, in keeping with front and back and side yard setback. So maybe
And the
24
concerns-
square feet, something like that.
The only other concerns
There
I
is no
would
plan
have.
at the moment. I haven't got a final plan for that.
Thank you. My concerns are the same as Councillor Beelan's. Maybe a different type of septic, something that isn't that close to the creek would be a very good option for that property if indeed it was approved by the NVCA. Thank you.
I appreciate the comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Measures, did you have any comments?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. No, I have no comments on it. And it was interesting to see this application come forward. So I look forward to the report from the staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Broderick, I'll go to you next. No comments. Thank you. Councillor MacArthur. Good, thank you. I'll just take a couple stabs at it. Ms. Waters, the NVCA comments, the letter we received was pretty whoa, stop, whatever. Our applicant seems to tell us today that a lot of these situations have been resolved. Have you heard about this at all?
Yes, so I've talked with NVCA as well, and they are looking for specific things like delineating the flood zone.
Okay.
And if that can be done, then, and there's still enough space for the septic in the house, then they would be supportive of it. They just need to work through that technical.
Okay, thank you. And just a couple comments to answer Mr. Beelan. A well must be 50 feet away from the septic. If it's a drilled well, dug well must be 100 feet away. And the other comment I just want to make as a general term, the province is really pushing for infilling of properties, intensification. So if we can sneak these ones in, properly and everything, it's good to support our provincial mandate, we'll say. So thank you. Councillor Beelan, do you have something else you wish to add?
Thank you, Your Worship. Do you know what the NVCA means when it says the applicant may want to refine the extent of these hazards? Like, what do they mean by that?
My suspicion is, since the original application was done, as you're aware, I've preached about, the province has mandated what can be done in high water tables and areas too. So they may, what was possible, may not have been possible 2 years ago, it could be possible today. So, and they may also be doing another survey to say, we've got more elevation than was realized originally. We've switched to the LiDAR system, which is more sensitive to elevation, so maybe there is more opportunity here, so let it play through, so. Okay. You're good, Mr. Waters. Was there anything else that you wanted to speak about? Hello? Was there anything else? You're good with everything?
Oh, myself?
Yes. You're good?
No, I appreciate the hearing. And with regard to the NVCA comments, they were in the pre-consultation. I appreciate that. And I'd met with them in October in person and I had the feeling that there were no red flags was what I was told, but that didn't mean I could not look at the other concerns. So, but I guess I need the reminder. So I spoke again today with Davin Metherell at NVCA, and we're going to speak Friday morning. And I indicated my willingness to meet whatever their concerns are. And I had some of the questions being raised here. Was it a topographic survey to look at elevation for flooding? Was it something else? So we will refine what's required Friday, and I'm happy to proceed to meet whatever their information needs are.
Good, thank you. Good luck with that.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's been a number of years. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes the public meeting with respect,
He did close the public session, so if there were any public comments. I'm sorry, are you not hearing anything? Could you please stand up if you're going to come forward? And the public session, if you can't hear us, you got to stay right away, because as a public meeting, if the session's been closed, it's closed. So please come forward.
no, you can.
Depends what you're going to ask. Sorry, Paul.
That's okay. No,
I think you've got your microphone pretty well right on top of you,
Yeah.
so,
Okay, make sure your red light is on, please, there, or green light is on, and pull the mic towards you. Pull the mic down towards you. Okay. And your question would be, ma'am?
It's a simple question. You were talking about the elevation on this property.
I'm sorry, ma'am, to interrupt. Does the microphone have a green light on it? Can we
Green,
press it?
Here,
There, thank you, Nick.
Okay, Nick. Okay, go ahead.
You were talking about the elevation of his property. If he has to raise the elevation, how is that going to affect the neighbors?
This is why the application goes to the NVCA, because they will determine what works and what doesn't work, sort of thing.
Well, I have another question too, if that's okay.
I'm sorry?
I have another question too,
Sure,
if
go
that's
ahead.
okay. The septic that he's talking about putting in, is that like a peat moss thing that has to be cleaned out every 10 years or something?
Who's our engineer that could, Dan, would you be able to talk about the septic, or Patty?
Sure, yeah, thank you. There's no design for the septic at this stage.
Okay,
There's just a proposed area for the septic to be located
Okay.
in.
yeah.
So the design of the septic will come at the detailed design stage if this gets approved.
Okay, did you hear that, ma'am? So I'll just repeat it, because we didn't hear it too well here. At this point, there is no design for the septic. If the application proceeds, then the design will come forward at that time. And what type of bed it will be determined according to the size and availability of space and everything else.
Okay, there was something else, but I can't remember what it was.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, my name is Brady Risk. I'm from 1 Cadeau Drive.
Pull the mic up to your mouth, please.
1 Cadeau Drive is where I'm from. My name is Brady Risk. I'd like to finish up with Phyllis's question on size of the house. It's pretty vague diagram, and I think that's very concerning. As much as, this is laid out to say, hey, can I build a house? There isn't enough detail here for me to evaluate it properly.
Right, and as was mentioned, until everything is presented to NVCA, what's determined to be the floodplain, and then at that point, the size can be determined.
So then that would hold another meeting to discuss the size of it then?
Once the application, it comes forward, I don't believe we would.
Because I think that should be another step.
Oh,
in this
Danielle,
process.
I'll ask Danielle to answer that. Go ahead, Danielle.
So, through you, the zone has requirements for setbacks and all of that, and so the house, the driveway, all of that will have to meet all of those zone setbacks. The zoning amendment is to remove it from that, or create it as a lot of record, to recognize it as that. It's not to do with the size of the house. So
Well-
that will be determined by the NVCA and the size of the septic.
Are these
and all of
numbers
that.
accurate that we've been provided in the site plan for the distances from the lot line?
Yes.
So-
So that meets all the setbacks.
Okay, so my concern is it's a 10-meter wide frontage of the house. That's
There-
doing my math, but I have no idea what the depth of the house is. So when Phyllis asked for sizing, there's no sizing on this map to compare it to other homes on that subdivision. And I think that's rather vague if there isn't going to be another meeting about the size of it and how the encroachment is. As much as it's marked on here, I'm just concerned it's a 10-meter frontage of a house.
So it's basically an example site plan of what could fit there. So the zoning will dictate how large and what the setbacks are.
But so would that allow another public consultation after that? Once NCVA approves it, he's good to
No.
go?
No, so because we're not looking at the size of the house per se, if it can meet the setbacks, it would be able to fit on the lot properly.
What I'm worried about is a narrow house going in with the setbacks and being like 2 and 3 stories. Like as much as it could be 2 stories, it could be 3 stories. I don't know what the limits are there either, but I'm concerned about a little narrow house being built just to make accommodation. That's my concern about the building process. And with the setbacks already in place, like I said, it's a 10-meter frontage that he's allowed right now.
Yeah.
How deep is it going to be?
We can take your comments and I can send you an email to show you what the size requirements and all of that are.
Well,
lot
they're on here,
coverage.
right?
Sorry?
They're on here now, right? The setback requirements?
The setback requirements are the 4.5 meters, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And same with the other side, right? The 12.1?
That's just wherever the house was put, so it's 4.5 meters on both sides.
4.5 on both sides.
Yeah. And so I can send you the setback requirements from the zoning bylaw if you're interested in that.
I'm more interested in what the plan is as opposed to what the requirements are, because I trust that you're going to abide by what's allowed, but I'm more concerned about what the final thing looks like or is going to be.
I think those are fair comments, and it's important, fill out those form, and your comments will be included and be reviewed. So, yeah, let them, please fill them out, and our staff will take a look at them, sort of thing.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, appreciate that. Okay, anybody else want to comment on this application? So we've changed things a bit? Okay.
You have to give.
Oh, no, everybody's welcome to speak. Okay, this concludes the public meeting with respect to zoning bylaw amendment for file 26ZBA-06 regarding property located at 5 Cattle Drive, Clearview. We thank you for who attended, provided comments with interest in this matter, and all input received with regard to this proposal will be considered by staff in their recommendation and by council in their decision with respect to the application. A report concerning this proposal will be prepared for council, who will make a decision concerning this matter at a future meeting. Okay. We're now going to begin our meeting with respect to zoning, 3.2 zoning bylaw amendment 26-ZBA-02. Applicant is Reinhardt Foods Limited, and in regards to property located on 234 Poplar Side Road, Stayner, and the planning staff will start with a presentation regarding this application. And I will have note that Councillor MacArthur has removed himself from the office. So this is yours as well, Danielle, I believe.
It is,
ma'am.
thank you.
And we have other people here with that group as well, just so we know. Okay, good, thank you. Danielle, please begin.
Thank you. So this is the public meeting 26 ZBA02. Next slide. So this map is wrong, actually. It's from the last one. But there is a map further on that shows you where the property is located. So the subject land is 234 Poplar Street in the south corner of Steiner. Next slide. The purpose of the application is to request a site-specific amendment to rezone the subject lands from general industrial zone to general industrial exception XX zone to exempt the lands from the general provisions of the Township of Clearview zoning bylaw 0654, specifically section 215.6 requirement for parking area finishing and section 215.61 parking areas within settlement areas. The effect of the application is to facilitate a gravel parking lot for a truck terminal on the subject lands. Next slide. This is just a breakdown of those two sections. So hard surfacing is required, and they are proposing gravel surfacing. Next slide. Submission items were the application, cover letter, site plan, and an engineering letter of opinion. All of those can be viewed on the website. Next slide. Here's a map of the property. General industrial throughout the area in all directions. To the south is a decommissioned waste disposal site and environmental protection lands. Currently, the property is vacant. Next slide. The planning policies in the official plan, it is designated industrial, and in the zoning bylaw, general industrial. Next slide. Here we can see the site plan. It's a gravel parking lot with several, I believe, 30 spaces, and it shows the turning radiuses for the trucks to come in and out. Next slide. Notice of the subject application has been given in accordance with the Planning Act. April 24th, it was mailed out 120 meters, posted on site, and was made available to the public on the website, as well as being circulated to commenting agencies and internal departments. Next slide. Any of the comments received have been published on the website. If we received anything after the agenda was published, then it will be available with the recommendation report. Next slide. The review process, when the application was received, deemed complete, and the public meeting today, with a recommendation report and notice of passing going out at a different meeting. Next slide. My contact information, and I believe the applicant is here and the owner is online.
Just quick comment, Ms. Waters. For those who are looking at the application, this page 2 actually has the map of the previous application attached to it.
Yeah.
So the ortho map that they showed is the accurate map, so please disregard. And also that for those who are confused, 234 Poplar Street is in Steiner. 234 Poplar Side Road is also in Clearview, but it's further to the west. So just making it clear for those questioning it. Thank you. Please proceed, sir.
Hello, Your Worship and Council. Scott Singer, co-president of Reinhardt Foods. I don't want to take up any unnecessary time repeating what was in the documents presented, but I'm here, I can do so. My brother gave me notes, but otherwise I'm here for any questions. So maybe that might be the best, and if I need to go over some things, happy to do so.
Thank you. Please stay with us, and if we have any questions, we will ask them. So thank you. Does anybody in the audience wish to make a comment, ask a question, or address committee with respect to this application? Make it clear. Okay, that's asked once. Does anybody want to ask questions about this application? Asked twice. And does anybody wish to ask questions about this application? Asked 3 times, so you're off the hook for those ones. So with this, we'll go to our committee members. This time I'll start with Councillor Broderick. Any comments or questions?
Yeah, I see a gravel surface is proposed, but a hard surface is required.
Yes.
So it will be a hard surface?
It'll be gravel surface as it is today, so no intended changes.
Okay. How does that work?
I can speak to just our experiences. So most industrial properties such as this around the province would be gravel in terms of from an industrial standpoint. In terms of our experience, both at our Stainer plant and our Chambly plant in Quebec, both are gravel. One of the challenges we have is that our trucks are Trident trailers, so they haul 67,000 pounds and are constantly turning. We have tried different types of asphalt over the years, and they end up getting chewed up within very short periods of time. So what we do is we actually actively not only start with a strong gravel surface, which is in place now, but we constantly regrade it and make sure that no holes develop on a monthly basis and that it's maintained properly. Similar to this, and that there's no pooling, et cetera, no dust, et cetera. So we've got a lot of experience that this works quite well for us from a use perspective.
And how do you control the dust?
We honestly, I mean, we've been using these properties. I mean, we're in a residential area over by our plant, and dust has not been an issue at any point in time, nor debris coming off. We have said, though, that we will pave the first portion of it to make sure that if there is any debris on the tires, it has an opportunity to leave before it gets to the road. And we would be good partners if there ever was any issue, but we've never had an issue with regards to like the amounts of dust. And this is particularly why, though, we chose an industrial lands, because we wanted to make sure that we were an area where, this would be away from homes, away from community, et cetera, just from good partners basis.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Your worship, you get second this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I really want to just acknowledge that your comment about paving the first portion of the property is a good idea, given that that section of the property has the largest slope, basically, as the entrance and exit way for the site. And so any type of water issues that might create washouts or whatever in a gravel driveway would be mitigated by that. As well, the driveway has proper clearances for the culvert system and the drainage that's on the ditching next to the road. So so far it's working, and I appreciate what Councillor Broderick's saying and asking, because it is a departure from our current bylaw, but it does make sense given the specific use that's been requested, given that it's for parking of trailers.
Yes.
That's really what it's for, and so I think that it's a good assumption to say that the gravel surface on a good 2/3 or better of the site will probably work just as well. I mean, I think that's a smart idea that has been presented, and I'm glad to hear that you work with our staff to put this together. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Councillor Deneen, any comment?
No, it was covered as far as the dust for the neighbors, and Reinhardt's have always been good neighbors and very easy to work with. So I'm quite confident they'll look after the neighborhood if there's any issues.
Thank you. Councillor Beelan.
Thank you, Your Worship. Having had a tour of Reinhardt's, I noticed there was kind of congestion of a lot of trucks at the plant, so this should help alleviate that, right? And I think it would make 26 a little safer, so I think this is a good thing.
Thank you. Councillor Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a clarification, have you decided which street you will use to access Poplar? Side street or industrial with the big trucks?
So
Because side does have some homes,
Yes, I
And it's a
believe.
narrower street, I do believe, than industrial.
Yeah, so I
I'm just
believe,
wondering-
yeah, no, it's okay. I'm representing my brother, but I know there's a specific street, so I believe it's the one without the homes that our drivers have to go on.
Industrial.
To the industrial one, and I know that because someone used the wrong one, and my brother drove in front of my brother, and he drove right back to the plant and found out who the driver was and gave him a call. So we are very specific on that.
Okay.
Good, thank you very much. I'll just add the comment, as a truck driver, I appreciate gravel. We will rip our tires apart, and it won't do anybody any favors with the asphalt, so it's the right way to go. Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Singer, and appreciate everything you do for our community, so thank you.
Well, we are very grateful to be in Clearview since 1910, so thanks you so much for your support.
Thank you very much. So this concludes the public meeting with respect to the zoning bylaw amendment for file 26ZBA-02 regarding property located at 234 Poplar Street, Stayner. We thank all who attended and provided comments for their interest in this matter. All input received with regard to this proposal will be fully considered by staff in their recommendation and by council in their decision with respect to this application. Report regarding this proposal will be prepared for council, who will make a decision concerning this matter at a future meeting. So, Councillor MacArthur, you're back in on it. You're way in again. So, thank you. We will now begin the public meeting with respect to item 3.3, zoning bylaw amendment for file 26/ZBA-04 for applicant is Celeste Phillips on behalf of Nottawa GP Inc. and it's regarding property located at 57 Battle Road, not Collingwood, Clearview. No, it says that, Clearview. Planning staff will now start with a brief presentation concerning this application. And this as well is Danielle?
Danielle.
Danielle again. Thank you,
It's the
ma'am.
last one for me.
I know. Thank you. Go ahead.
So public meeting for 26 ZBA 04. And we have the key map up there. The property is located in Nottawa at 57 Bateau Road. Next slide. The purpose of the application is to consider a new draft plan subdivision on the subject lands. The draft plan of subdivision is to consist of a total of 47 single detached dwelling lots of varying sizes and frontages, 2 open space blocks, and 1 road. The effect of the application is to facilitate the residential development of the subject lands through a draft plan of subdivision. Next slide. An outline of the requirements for the zoning, minimum frontage, minimum lot area, and a holding provision subject to sufficient water and wastewater capacity availability. Next slide. Submission of the following were submitted and can be viewed online. Archaeological assessment, submission to the Ontario Registrar, draft plan of subdivision, environmental impact study, phase 1, environmental site assessment, functional servicing and stormwater management report, geotechnical exploration, planning justification report, hydrogeological assessment report, traffic impact study, arborist report, and a tree preservation plan. Next slide. Surrounding land uses are generally low-density residential land use with an institutional use, the school to the east. The current land use is residential. There is a single detached dwelling and 2 accessory buildings on the property. Next slide. The planning policy, the official plan designation is residential. The zoning bylaw designation is residential hamlet and development area. Next slide. Here we can see the draft plan with all the lot layouts and the street layout. Next slide. The notice in circulation was sent out in accordance with the Planning Act on April 24th, mailing 120 meters and posting on the site. It was made available online to the public, all of the documentation, and it was circulated to relevant commenting agencies and internal departments. Next slide. If comments were received, they've been published as part of the meeting agenda. Any comments received after publishing of the agenda will be published as part of the recommendation report. Next slide. And again, a review of the process of when the application was received, deemed complete, when the notice was given, and then the public meeting today, and then a future recommendation report and notice of passing. Next slide. And my contact information again. And I'm here for any questions, and the applicant Celeste Phillips is here.
Thank you, Danielle. Celeste, it's all yours now.
Hello, I seem to appear before you on the days when there's an important Canadian sports team playing a game, so tonight I think it's the Habs. Members of council, staff, and members of the public, my name is Celeste Phillips. I'm a land use planning consultant. I'm here this evening on behalf of Nottawa Limited Partnership, the owner of the property. With me this evening is Jay Beach. He's a vice president at Georgian Communities. And also Brittany Robertson and Adrian M. from Crozier Engineering, if there's any specific questions you might have of them. Go to the next slide, please. So Ms. Waters has done a pretty good job at explaining everything, so I will keep it kind of brief. The property address is 57 Batto. Just wanted to point out that the property is outlined in blue on this drawing. The white outline represents the boundaries of the Nottawa settlement area. And as council will know, the province, the county, and the township planning documents all recommend that development take place within settlement areas. Next slide, please. This is a closer view of the property, and as Ms. Waters has pointed out, to the east is the Nottawa Elementary School. To the north and west are single detached dwellings, and then beyond those dwellings are lands located within the settlement area but are being used for agricultural purposes. To the south, you can see the residential dwellings along Donald Avenue. The property is about 3.4 hectares. That's 8.4 acres in imperial measurement. And except for the existing detached dwelling that's on the property close to Batto Road and some outbuildings, the property is otherwise vacant. We'll go to the County of Simcoe official plan. This is Schedule 5.1 from the County of Simcoe official plan. The property is shown here with a blue asterisk as the approximate location. The gray area represents the County of Simcoe designation of these lands as settlements. And as I mentioned, that's where development is to take place in the province of Ontario as a first priority. The official plan for Clearview on the next slide. Ms. Waters reviewed this. That large blue square, the pale blue square, represents the institutional designation for the Nottawa School. The property we're speaking about this evening is outlined in the dark blue. And as you can see, the property that we're talking about is designated in the yellow tone, which is the residential designation. The property has two zone categories. Right close to the road where the existing dwelling is the RS zone, which is the residential hamlet zone, and this is the zone category in your existing zoning bylaw. Bylaw is 06-54. But the majority of the property is zoned DA, which is development area, which is a zone category that recognizes that development will take place on these lands. Go to the next slide, a couple of photos. This is a photo showing the back of the existing dwelling that's fronting onto Batto Road. The next slide is a view looking east at the fields, and then the final photo is looking south, and you can see in the background of this photo the dwellings, the residential dwellings that are located on Donald Avenue. So as Ms. Waters has explained, a 20-meter road is proposed, 47 single detached lots, a small open space parkland close to Batto Road, and a 10-meter wide block in the southeast corner of the plan, which will be used for stormwater conveyance and also for a possible trail. The lot frontages are proposed to be in Imperial 43 feet by 98.4 feet or greater. That's 12.8 meters by 30 meters, with lot areas of about 380 square meters. The parkland dedication required by the province of Ontario is 5% of the land area proposed for development. Often municipalities do not want to take small parklands, and what they request is often cash in lieu of parkland. In this case, what's being proposed is about 4.1% parkland. That's that park close to Battle Road and that open space area down in the southeast corner. The balance of the 5% could be paid in cash in lieu, but it's entirely the municipality's responsibility and decision as to what they want to do about the requirement for parkland for this property. The zoning is shown on the next slide, and the purpose of the zoning bylaw is to implement the plan of subdivision. So the rezoning would be from that residential hamlet zone for the existing dwelling and the development area zone for the majority of the property to a single detached residential zone that would permit the lot sizes that I've discussed with you. There would be a holding suffix applied to the end of the zone category, which would not be lifted until services are available for the property. And I'll just take a few minutes on the next slide because I think there may be some questions about lot sizes in this municipality. So the current zone permissions, excuse me, under your current zoning bylaw is a requirement for 13.5 meters of frontage with 400 square meters of lot area. If you look at the third box down, you can see that in many instances, the township has varied those standards and has allowed 12-meter frontages and 360 square meters of lot area. And then if we go to the fourth box down, the new township bylaw, you can see that the proposed new zoning bylaw is suggesting lot sizes that are smaller than what's proposed as part of this application. The recommendation in the draft zoning bylaw is 9-meter frontages and 11-meter frontages with 270 and 330 square meters. And so then the final column, or sorry, row on this slide shows that what's being proposed for 57 Batto is 12.8 meter frontages and 380 square meters of lot area. That is a standard that we are requesting that is larger than what is proposed in your new zoning bylaw, although it's draft still, but also is representative of what the township has allowed as site-specific exceptions in the municipality. Next slide, please. Ms. Waters has gone over all of the reports that have been submitted: archaeological, environmental, geotechnical, hydrogeology, tree reports, servicing reports, traffic reports, and those are all available for anyone to review by contacting the planning department. In addition to those technical reports, a planning justification report has been submitted. And the test in determining the appropriateness of a development application is not on what the benefit is for an existing homeowner in Ottawa. It is a test to see how the application responds to the province's directives as set out in the Planning Act. And the test that planners have is that applications have to have regard for matters of provincial interest. The other three documents that are considered in making a determination about the application are the provincial planning statement, which was issued in 2024, and the County of Simcoe and Township of Clearview official plans. So my position in that planning justification report is that the application before you, members of council, is consistent with the provincial planning statement and conforms to the official plans for the county and for the township, and also has regard for matters of provincial interest. I'll take 2 more minutes of your time just to speak to you about correspondence submitted. County of Simcoe has advised of no objection to the application, and they indicate in their correspondence that they're working with Ottawa Limited Partnership on the provision of municipal services for the school. Those discussions are ongoing. I did check in with the school board planner about 2 weeks ago to advise or to find out about the expansion of the Nottawa School. His response, this is Andrew Kuchen, is that the expansion of the school remains a priority for the school board. Their staff are continue to work to what they refer to as a shovel-ready site, which means they want to have their designs finalized, they want to submit for site plan approval, and they want to work towards the building permit so that all is ready to go with the expansion to the school as soon as the Ministry of Education provides the funding. The County of Simcoe advised of no objection, and there will be garbage and recycling pickup, and they also inquired about the status of the discussions on municipal services. And finally, earlier this morning, Ms. Daniels provided me with comments from 2 residents at 53 and 58 Bateau. I have reviewed that correspondence and would certainly commit to providing a written response to the planning department with respect to the comments raised there. I would note that the province encourages an efficient use of land where existing and planned infrastructure is going. So in this case, the plan is that these lands would be serviced with full municipal services. We're not there yet, but the holding suffix on the zoning would allow the subdivision to obtain draft approval and rezoning pending the resolution of that servicing piece. And that is the end of my comments. I'm happy to answer any questions, or Mr. Beach or the engineers from Croziers are here to help you if you have any questions.
Good, thank you very much. If you want to step back for a minute, but we'll pull either one of the people you mentioned forward as we get certain questions. Is there anybody here from the public who would like to ask questions? Sir, you're first.
Hi, I'm Michael Doge. I'm at 65 Bateau Road, north end of the proposed subdivision. Seems I hear a lot of people talking about approvals from all the government bodies, but nobody's asked us. And I kind of think that's not fair. As a resident out there, 2 doors down from the school, proposing to put larger school in, we've already got a problem. Too many cars. Way too many cars. They line up in front of my place and out to Bill Brown's place. Come and pick up their kids. So I want to let you know that. My biggest concern, though, is what are they going to do about the water? I just bookmarked all these places that were, all these reports can be studied. I haven't got to look at them yet to see what they are planning, but coming from experience, where I grew up was very rural, and then subdivisions came in and we lost our water. We had to beg the town to bring water to us. They just sucked the water table dry, all these big new houses that went in. So I want to be sure that that's going to be dealt with and considered, and I won't know anything until I read the report on that. Next thing I'm really interested in is, I didn't write this one down, but those are the main ones. Oh, density and traffic. We already have a lot of cars going there, and if all we've got to get on Highway 124, is in front of Doug's place, we're screwed. I don't see anything for provisions of traffic, although I've got a lot of reading to do. And I just think the density is way too large for this area, for the infrastructure that we have in place right now. That's all I want to say. Thank you. I'll be filling out one of those forms. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'll ask the engineer. Jay, who's the engineer you have? Brittany. Oh, sorry, Brittany. I didn't. Okay, Brittany, can you just answer those? Respond to them as best you can, please.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. My name is Brittany Robertson. I'm a professional engineer with Crozier and Associates. I would kindly direct you to the reports that are available at the link in the staff report. We did do a traffic impact study with terms of reference that were approved by the township and the county, as 124 is a county road. We've assessed traffic signal warrants and turn lane warrants, and we're working through that right now with the municipality. We have prepared extensive amount of work on the water supply. We're proposing a full municipal system that would be expanded from the Georgian community subdivision that is south of the McKean subdivision, and that municipal infrastructure would be run to this subdivision as well as the school and the fire hall as part of the proposal. And in terms of the density, I will leave that one to the planner. I think that that's the zoning bylaw chart that she presented earlier, and is consistent with the zoning that the township is moving towards for infill of residential settlement areas.
Good, thank you very much. As the comment is made, until the water is there, nothing can be done. So that yet to be seen how that works out. So thank you, Brittany. Liz, do you want to come up? Thank you. Okay, yep, I'll get you, we'll work across the room there. Thanks, Jeff.
Good evening, Mayor and Deputy Mayor and Council. My name is Louise McCartney West, and I live at 4190 County Road 124 in Ottawa, or better known as DNL Family Variety. I would like to bring forward objections to the proposed zoning bylaw amendment, which would allow the 47 homes to be constructed on the property at 57 Bateau Road. First and foremost, to put 47 homes into land that has been used as a single residential property makes no sense. The whole street of Bateau Road has always been delegated as single dwellings on certain sizes of lots, and aesthetically allowing 47 homes onto one parcel of land changes that whole dynamics of the street. Asking for permission to cram 47 homes into a small property is not fair to the other residents of Bateau Road, for also a number of other reasons. Proposing 47 homes onto a parcel of land raises concerns about water and sewage. Are the owners planning on drilled wells along with septic systems, or are they looking at alternative methods of providing water and removing sewage from the homes? Again, residents in the village of Ottawa are very concerned about these developments coming into the village and affecting our wells, especially in the old part of Ottawa. There are too many residents of Ottawa experiencing low levels in their wells or running completely out of water on a regular basis. As far as traffic considerations, and you can do all things that you want to look at, but it appears there will be only one entrance or exit coming out of that said development, and we could see anywhere from 47 vehicles to 94 vehicles or more coming out of that development and going onto Bateau Road. We have enough issues on that road, especially when the school is in first thing in the morning and when the school is dismissing their students at the end of day. Between cars and buses on that road, it becomes a nightmare. The fire department has to get down Bateau Road at any given time in a safe and fast manner that could become an issue with traffic flow on that Bateau Road along with County Road 124. Finally, we have the same issue regarding the Ottawa School. If we end up with 500 homes along with another 47 that they are asking to do, how are we going to accommodate more students? What they are proposing for the addition onto the Ottawa School will not even cover off the students in the portables, and we will only add more portables to cover off the number of possible new students. I would also like to remind Council that when the owners that wanted to put in a winery on their property on Bateau Road a few years back, the residents were against that change also, and it was turned down by Council because of a number of reasons that I have outlined above. So what has really changed other than Doug Ford's provincial government wants to ram these bills everywhere? However, it has to be reasonable and make sense, and the numbers that the owner is requesting is way too much for that property's density and the neighborhood. Thank you for your attention to this matter, and hope you will take into consideration what taxpayers of Ottawa would like to see, not what developers want to do.
Thank you very much. Okay, I don't believe there's any questions. It was a good comments. Thank you. You're next, I believe. Jeff, you wanted to go next, I think?
Yes, Your Worship and members of council. I'm Jeff Shearer of the Ottawa Area Residents Association. We've been following the development of the 500-home Georgian Communities development just south of us. And now we're looking at another group of homes. And I realize that this may not technically make sense, but it certainly logically does. Why on earth would you give draft plan approval to anything that still didn't have a solution for sewage and a solution for water? Water is, as we heard earlier this evening, important questions are quickly asked about water. But what are you going to do for water? And to simply say, well, our tests show that there's enough water for everyone is a wonderful idea. And I understand from Brittany that there will be another test done later this summer to see how that aligns with the earlier tests. But it seems to me that the notion of approving this plan, as well as the plan that's been a draft plan approval since 2009, without really having a solution for water. There's still no solution for water until somebody can produce that amount of water and prove that it's enough to service now 547 homes, plus the 400 homes in Ottawa already. So I'm really concerned that we're moving ahead as a community without some basic understanding. We know that sewage is not available from Collingwood at this point. What's going to change that? Why does Georgian Communities so confident that they can move ahead without a solution to something as basic as sewage servicing? And so my concern is that we're just moving ahead approving these things, but we don't really have a plan for the two most basic things that a community needs: water and sewer. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Derek, would you mind just tackling that question that Mr. Sheard has just presented? Why can draft plan be approved without water and services?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So typically, draft plan approval, there's usually a set of conditions that come with a draft plan approval, and one of the conditions would be providing for water or sanitary services. Draft plans of subdivisions usually have a lapsing date. Usually they have anywhere from 3 to 5 years to fulfill those conditions. If conditions aren't satisfied, then that draft plan approval does lapse, and the subdivision would effectively go away. There are opportunities for developers to extend draft plan approval. As Mr. Shearer pointed out, this has been ongoing since 2009. I believe Georgian Communities has been working through that process and extending their draft plan approval, trying to come up with a solution for their sanitary needs. But that's typically the process in Ontario for Planning Act approvals is we can approve a draft plan. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to go forward. There are still a set of conditions that need to be satisfied, but that's the standard process in Ontario.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Anybody else wish to speak to this topic? Come right ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and members of Council. My name is Julian Langstead. I'm speaking on behalf of William and Jennifer Brown, who own 53 Bateau Road, the property directly next to 57 Bateau Road. They've lived there for 28 years and they're here with me this evening. They're raising concerns because, having reviewed the applicant's studies, they believe this application is premature and they're asking Council not to approve it as it stands. Our main point is servicing, and I want to be precise about it, because there's a distinction that makes all the difference. The problem isn't that servicing hasn't been built yet, it's that servicing hasn't even been decided. Those two are very important things, and I'll explain why with the applicant's own report. We'll take each of the three services in turn. Firstly, water. The applicant's functional servicing report says the water supply is still going through an environmental assessment that hasn't concluded. So there's no approved answer yet for how these 47 homes would get water. It isn't built, but more importantly, it hasn't even been decided. On sewage, the report confirms Nottawa has no municipal sewer at all today, and the proposed solution is a new pipe roughly 5 kilometers long running into the town of Collingwood system, which is still being designed. And on stormwater, the report says the plan isn't final because it relies on a neighboring development's pond that is still being redesigned, and it states its own calculations will be superseded. Here's why that distinction matters. We understand the normal process. The development can be improved with conditions and the servicing built afterwards. But that approach works when the solution is settled and simply needs to be constructed. You can schedule the building of something that's already been decided. What you can't do is put a condition on a question that hasn't even been answered yet. And right now, the most basic question, where the water comes from, is still being studied. And that's what makes this application premature in the Browns' view. So we would ask council, how can the rezoning be approved when the water supply hasn't even been determined? The sewer is still being designed and the storm water system isn't final. The township's own provincial plan asks whether a development can be serviced without requiring major new infrastructure. We'd ask council to satisfy itself that a water supply is still under environmental assessment and a 5-kilometer sewer into another town can really meet that test. And the township already takes this seriously. In Stayner, where we are today, they've put a hold on new building permits until new water infrastructure is built because the system is at capacity. Nottawa is actually even earlier than that. It has no municipal water supply at all, and the supply is still under environmental assessment. It just shows the township's approach where the water isn't ready, development waits. We're simply asking for that same caution here. Second, the stormwater is planned to drain across the school's property next door, and the report says the applicant's discussions with the school about what are, again, in their words, still in progress. The school hasn't agreed. We don't think a drainage plan should be approved when the neighbor it relies on hasn't signed on. Lastly, the groundwater. The applicant's hydrogeology report found groundwater at and in one spot above the ground surface and says they'll need to pump out water during construction. But how much water and where that water goes is still left unclear. The Browns' home sits right next to the site on the west side, and the school sits right next to it on the east. There's also residential properties to the north and south. They're the ones who will live with that dewatering, and right now it's still an open question. I'll add one thing that also puzzled them. The applicant's environmental study assesses a 39-unit subdivision, while every other document says 47. We're not suggesting anything improper here, but that's the study meant to assess the project's impacts, and it appears to have assessed a smaller and different plan. We'd ask council to confirm the project was studied, and the project that was studied was the project that is being decided and proposed. So the request is simple. Please do not approve this as presented. Defer it until the water and sewer are approved and available, the stormwater design is finished, and the school has agreed, and the groundwater and dewatering questions are answered where the public can see them. And if it does proceed, please make those things binding conditions along with real limits on construction dust, noise, trucks right beside the school. Thank you for your time, and on the Browns' behalf, we'd also like to be notified in writing of your decision.
Thank you. And just make sure you fill out the form, okay? As you know, aware, we don't make decisions here tonight. We're just having the public meeting.
Yeah, I'll get a form. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Brittany, would you just speak to that comment he just made about the incorrect number of houses tested for the stormwater management, please?
I think he was referring to the environmental study.
All right, environmental study.
So the environmental study, the EIS assesses the current state of the property to establish the development boundary limits. It basically identifies if there's any features on the property that could not be developed or features that the plan would need to respect. That work has been ongoing for well over a year, and at the initial stages of that work, the concept plan that they were working off of had 39 units. Okay. Essentially, the report found that the entire property is developable. As you saw in the pictures, it's a mowed lawn. And so the road configuration and where the housing was located, there's no substantial difference. But we have received comments back from review agencies on a few small things, so we can certainly make the switch to update that plan. It doesn't change any of the findings of the report, though. The development area remains the same, and the footprint of the homes and the roads would remain the same.
Good, thank you. Okay. Just keep this gentleman informed then, if you could send a response to that, please.
Absolutely.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak in regards to this matter?
Council Worship, thank you for hearing me. My name's Calvin Phillips, and I live at 58 Bateau Road, which is directly across from where this property is proposing to be developed. A lot of people talk about NIMBY, and I'll be honest, not in my backyard. In my case, not in my front yard. When I bought this place in 2009, I bought across from a house, not a T intersection that is now being proposed to be put right at my living room window. So as Clearview Township has, in Ottawa, currently has no public transportation available, we're proposing 47 homes, which, let's be realistic, that is going to be at least 100 cars. So that'll be 100 cars of traffic coming down that road right in my front window as plan is proposed, which obviously not a plan, not a fan of. And I think we could do better on that. I also have concerns about water. I did hear them say that it would be proposed to come in from the municipal well. So that's fine and dandy with that municipal well study that's been happened. So it's for those 500 homes behind. It's for this now proposed 47 homes. But there's also another property that Georgian Community owns, which is directly across the entrance of McKean subdivision, where the old hops farm was. So how many more homes are going to go there that they're planning on as well, on expanding in? And is that proposed property taken into any of these studies for the homes that are going to happen, considering us current residents, from what I understand from Clearview Township, will remain our municipal, will not be part of that municipal water, because we are currently on well. And last I heard, there is no plan to force any of Clearview residents to move on to a municipal system. So I guess my question for council is there a plan to force the rest of Ottawa onto this one water source or not? Sorry, I was just checking my notes to make sure I hit all my points. Yeah, I think that's everything. I just want to thank you for your time.
Good, thank you. Derek, go ahead. Or do you want to? Derek, do you want to just add a comment, the question by this gentleman? Is there any other properties that you're aware of that are being integrated into this water system?
Through you, Deputy Mayor, not that I'm aware. I may defer to our Director of Public Works to see, or our Manager of Public Works to see if they're aware of any other developments being tied into this system.
Patty like to address that? Is there anything to be added?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At this time, there's no other applications in front of the municipality for additions to the municipal infrastructure, current municipal infrastructure, other than what's been discussed tonight. I am aware that there is some interest from Georgian Communities and another property in Ottawa. I don't know what their time frame or their, well, not even a request, because there's been no request. I just don't know where it sits
good.
right now.
That's fine, as long as there's nothing in front of us right now that we can see. Thank you. Okay. Go ahead, sir. I'd be glad for them. Jay, would you like to speak to that just quickly, please? Put you on the hot seat there.
Sure, thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. The 4082 property that you're referring to is currently in dispute with a purchase and sale agreement. There is interest, but that's simply it right now. So there's no further news on that.
I'm sure you have a plan, if you are able to succeed, as to how many homes you'd like to put there. So how many more homes will be pulling water out of your community well to supply there?
Our master servicing approach for sanitary, water, and storm is to benefit the entire settlement of the Ottawa settlement area. So that's really where it's at. We're sizing appropriately. The tests are appropriate for that development and the settlement area itself. So yeah, to answer that question, there's no future plans on 4082. We currently do not own it, but there is some interest. There is some interest.
Can I expand on that question?
Let me finish with this gentleman first, Louise. Did you get your question answered? Did you want it, sir?
Actually, yeah, we're a little more point to that. You're planning for all of Nottawa, not just your subdivision. Say the settlement there.
Servicing, wastewater and water servicing.
So for the whole town, including any houses you plan to build.
From a sizing perspective, yes. Yeah, and that's been the request.
Where'd that request come from?
The township of Clearview.
Perfect.
Yeah. We only want to put infrastructure in once, and we're in a position as a large developer, and we have the resources to do that accordingly. So that's been the ask through the engineering department, and we're sizing appropriately to do that, so.
That's my question.
Good. Okay, that's good.
On that though, with the 500 homes, are they planning on expanding on that one too?
Well, through you, Mr. Chair, ultimately, yeah, that'll be the source of the water and the wastewater. That'll be the main conduit to get to the communities itself. Expansions through urbanization and master planning throughout, and 57 Bateau is a beneficiary of that, and to get to the school and our master servicing approach. So we will consider all options as we grow in the village of Ottawa.
Good, thank you. Anybody else ask questions? Thank you very much, Jay, appreciate that. Anybody else questions? Going once. Anybody else like to ask a question? Oh, sorry, who's back there? Celeste, do you wish to throw some 2 words in there, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, members of council. As I mentioned earlier, we will provide a written response to all of the questions that have been raised today. That will be provided to the planning department. But a couple of things I just wanted to pick up on. I think we need to be clear that Ottawa, and this property in particular, is within a designated settlement area. It's designated by the county of Simcoe and by the township. So there is going to be growth in Ottawa. In terms of the density of the development, I went over the chart showing you what the lot sizes are likely to be. What the Ontario Land Tribunal has decided is that compatible development doesn't mean the same as. So although there may be larger lots in the area, and there may be some thinking that these should be large lots as well, the Ontario Land Tribunal has been very clear that compatible development does not need to be the same size as. Planned infrastructure is certainly something that the provincial planning statement makes reference to, and that development can proceed. As Mr. Abbots has mentioned, there will be a set of draft approval conditions, and there is a time frame to fulfill those conditions. Often one of the first conditions that you will see is that the property has to be serviced with full municipal services. In some municipalities, the length of time to fulfill those conditions ranges from 3 to 7 years. I'm seeing now in the city of Kawartha Lakes that they're allowing 10 years for those conditions to be fulfilled. But regardless what they are for this subdivision, the approval will lapse if the development does not proceed or if the owner does not request that the conditions be extended. And I think there's a comment as well made about dust, and in my experience, it's quite typical for this type of development to have a construction management plan in place before any development takes place. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, there was just one question through all the bouncing back and forth that didn't get answered that I'd previously asked. Is the plan of Clearview, now especially stated from, I can't remember his name, but the fine gentleman that spoke up behind me, Jay, about the fact of they are planning for a large enough municipal system for sewage and water for the whole town. Does Clearview Township have a plan to move all the residents onto this municipal shared system?
I'll ask Dan to just answer to that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And if council may recall, I can't recall the date, but we had a meeting to go over Ottawa servicing and follow up with Jay and what Brittany have said is that the infrastructure is being put in place, that it's properly sized when council or the residents of Ottawa are ready to contribute to local improvements for the remainder of Nottawa. So the sewer pipe that eventually, hopefully, will go from Nottawa to Collingwood will be appropriately sized to handle all of Nottawa, plus any infilling, i.e. 57 Bateau Road, other properties in Nottawa that are very large size that may, at some point in time, develop into residential properties. So that infrastructure is being put in place. We have preliminary cost estimates per property to service the rest of Nottawa, and council has, at this time, chosen not to proceed forward with that at this time. But the infrastructure will be in place. At some point in time, there will be a need for the remainder of Nottawa to connect to the municipal system. And similarly, the water infrastructure is going to be put in place so that it can be expanded upon in the future as well. So until the work is complete to know exactly how much water we're going to get out of that well, that new municipal well, there will be some, I'll say, residual capacity in that well to offer further expansion to the municipal water system. Does that answer your question?
That's good.
I think some of the people in the room, I recognize that were at the meeting where we disclosed what those costs would be per property. Those were 2023 or 4 numbers. Yeah. So they're quite substantial, right? That would be separate from the development. It would be something that council would have to decide on in consultation with the property owners, because those costs per property are quite substantial.
Thanks, Dan. Okay. I've asked once already. I'm going to ask a second time. Any more questions?
We keep hearing about substantial costs and that the council is not willing to look at it. However, my question is, with the fact that there are so many people that are concerned in the village about not having water and sewers, why are we not looking at asking the people of Nottawa whether they want water and sewers? And my other question is, when you're talking about substantial, is it not normal that when water and sewers come in, that developers pay their fair share along with us paying our fair share, and that there's also grants that should be going to the federal and the provincial governments and asking them to bring something in that is not something that we're not a third world country. I guess that's the point I'm making. We should have potable water. We should have systems that take away sewage, that we don't have to worry about the systems breaking down and paying thousands and thousands of dollars. I just had a chap in the store that told me that he's going to have to pay $50,000 for a new septic system. So why is this council of the day not going after some type of grant money, because there's grant money out there? But why are you not asking? And I have not heard once from, we started this 26 years ago when we were asking for water and sewers out here. The people wanted it 26 years ago, and nothing has been done. You haven't put any money in the budget for it. You haven't asked for any grants. So why in the heck aren't you? You're looking after Stainer, you're looking after Creemore, you're looking after all the areas except for Nottawa, and good for them. I'm happy that they have potable water and they have good working sewers. But what about Nottawa? Do we not deserve the same? So why aren't you looking at something like that?
Okay, I'll pass that one to the mayor. Thank you.
Ms. McCartney, you asked. This council and previous councils have been very aware of the concerns in Ottawa. The real challenge for this council is to make the dramatic decision that will then, as Mr. Phillips pointed out here, force you to connect. To force you to connect to a water system means that there will be it's called a local improvement charge. And you will be charged, each property, a substantial amount of money, as the director mentioned. At the previous meeting we held, you were here, he revealed that number about an hour and a half in when the question was finally asked. And we heard it. Off the top of my head, I can't recall the exact number, but let me give you a round number. It could be as high as $200,000 each. So let's just back up here a minute and know that this council is not making a decision to make you have to pay $200,000 so that you can connect your sewer and water. Now, excuse me, I'm still speaking.
No, I'm waiting for you.
I want you to understand, we have been looking at all the servicing for all of our beautiful township. And we've had some successes recently with Stainer getting a water source. That was a great effort put in by some very bright engineering people who found a terrific water source for this settlement area called Stainer. We went to the province and fought for 3.5 years to get them to understand we absolutely need this. That the 11th hour, Mr. Saunderson announced on the last day before an election that we got $35 million to do that job for Stainer. I'm going to tell you, we are working on this on all of our settlement areas. It takes a long time. And you want to talk about Ottawa being forgotten? Holy hell, Clearview gets forgotten. I have been fighting over and over and over again with our provincial colleagues to get them to understand we have concerns here and we need some financial support. So, just like a hockey playoff, sometimes you get a good game and sometimes you don't. We got a good game. We got 35 million. That saved us, the ability to move our whole community of Clearview Township forward. All right? So we have financial ability in the future to be able to do what we're going to do here as a community. As far as Ottawa goes, it's still in play. It's not been revealed yet if the province is about to help us or not. There's a long-term discussions that go on. These are decisions that sometimes can last 30 years. As you said, it's already been 26. It takes that much time, okay? This council's working on it. These staff have worked on it. Our staff have rotated. We've had new staff come and go, and they've seen the files, and I've had some of our junior staff, respectfully to the senior director, say, anything we do, we constantly get pushed back because we've got some fantastic neighbors around here who seem to get an awful lot of attention. Our friends in Wasaga Beach, our friends in Collingwood, they get an awful lot of attention, don't they? So we're doing everything we can to get attention. Okay? That's what we're doing.
You done?
I'm just about done. But I want to finish by saying to Mr. Phillips, because I'm still speaking, there's no decision made here at this table to force anybody to connect, particularly in Ottawa. The big thing that has happened is that the Planning Act has changed such that the development areas, the settlement areas are now all equally treated as settlement areas. That's why there's a lot of attention in Ottawa right now, because 26 years ago it was a secondary settlement area. So now it's a primary settlement area. It's as is New Lowell. FYI, if there's anybody here from New Lowell, Mr. Beelan, there's a lot of interest in New Lowell for this same kind of process. And a little later on tonight, we're going to be hearing about Creemore because of this same process. Okay? This is the reality of where we are and what we are. So, ma'am, go right ahead.
Thank you, Doug. I can appreciate what you're up against. But I think all we're asking is when you're throwing out those numbers, it scares the hell out of people. And I think what you have to be upfront about is that There may be a number that starts, but when you go after grants, and we all know that there are grants from governments that they will give you, Steiner's the perfect example of how much you were able to fight for and get. And that's all we're asking, is for this council or the new council that comes in to fight for Ottawa, get some potable water in here, because that's the main thing that we're concerned about, is that people do not have potable water, and there's not lots of it. And we shouldn't have to worry every day whether we can take a shower one day and also do dishes the same day. And I can tell you in Ottawa, there's people that are having those choices that they have to make. So when you're starting to talk about numbers, let's be realistic about it. Start with where it'll cost, but tell us what the government will give us for grants, because we do know that there's grants out there, and get it down so that people can afford it. Also explain to people that if they don't have money up front, and most of us don't have $120,000 to throw up, that we have options to put it on our taxes, that we have other ways of doing it. Collingwood did it for 26. This council should be able to do it for the village in Ottawa, and I think we're worth fighting for. Thank you.
You're absolutely right. All of those financial programs are available, and grant programs in the province of Ontario and in the federal government are frankly more like a lottery for municipalities than they are anything else, because you can apply and apply and apply and get this lovely letter saying, sorry, you didn't qualify. Mr. Walker will tell you a quick story sometime offline about how we applied for something and we didn't get it because our finances were in excellent shape. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'd like to turn the chair back over.
Thank you, Your Worship. Okay. Jeff, I'm going to shorten. We got a whole bunch of people waiting for the next one, so keep it short. I thought.
One follow-up. Just listening, and I don't think it was 200,000 that was mentioned.
It was a little less than that, you're right, and I'm sorry. I'm thinking it was 2023 numbers, so
yeah.
We're at 26. Where are we now?
And we realized that to do the sewage to all the homes in Ottawa would be more expensive than doing the water hookup. And if that's the case, maybe we should separate these two and think about water, which is the primary issue right this minute in Ottawa, and perhaps there's a way of hooking up water earlier to all the homes in Ottawa for a much less expensive project.
Thank you. Who's back there? Come on in, Brittany. And this will be the last comment. We've got another presentation to do.
Thank you, through you, the chair. I just wanted to address one quick misnomer. The provincial grants and the federal grants that are currently available often default to projects that are shovel ready. And right now, to expand the Ottawa system is not something that they could give a grant to, because we have to put the infrastructure in place first. And so, Louise, I certainly heard you. Everyone has to come to the table and everyone has to do their part. And I will say that Georgian is coming to the table and offering to put the pieces in place to create a shovel-ready project. Once you have an operational water treatment plant that has the capacity to expand, you can make a submission for a grant to start putting that infrastructure into the community of Ottawa. Right now, you couldn't make a submission because there's no infrastructure to build off of. And so I do encourage everybody to take a closer look at those grants. They're very realistic, and they're actually something that we are actively discussing with the staff here as part of this project. But it's worth looking at which projects have been successful, and they're the ones where you have a system in place that you're looking to expand upon, and the current McKean system is not one that you could expand upon as it is today. So I know everybody has all kinds of feelings about the subdivision that was presented, and that's a different question, but allowing the infrastructure to get put in place to start is going to be the first step to getting that infrastructure rolled out to Ottawa, and it does get you a lot closer to that finish line than we are today.
Thank you, Brittany. Okay. Asked once, I asked twice. Third time, no more questions. Thank you. Anybody from council? I'm going to start. Robert Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have no questions relating to, at this point in time, relating to the application. I will have some when we get our staff report. I have made a list of some questions, but they aren't clarification questions, which this meeting is about clarifying the information we're receiving. So they will be later on.
Thank you. Councillor Beelan?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just one question. Does the site plan include sidewalks? Because I can't see where it says there's sidewalks or anything. Does? Okay, thanks.
Councillor Deneen?
I have 4 pages of notes here that I'm going to look after, just like Robert Walker, and I'll go over them and I'll ask the questions.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Your Worship?
I just want to share that the co-owner of number 1 Bateau Road advised me when she heard about this project that she's pretty concerned about the traffic on the street. You know, I asked her to consult with the mayor, and she did. And I concur with her that their traffic is a big concern to the owners at 1 Bateau Road. And it's a real bottleneck there. And to be quite honest, during this conversation, Ms. McCartney West, I visualized our conversation we had about traffic lights at Bateau Road and 124. And this is going to be part of the discussion that I'm going to continue to bring up about it, because I think, you know, we're going to need it. Like, you remember the conversation with the county of Simcoe saying it didn't warrant a traffic light, didn't, like, holy hell. You're adding 100 more cars on the street, plus the school, plus I think we need a traffic light. So we're going to have that conversation. So if I may, Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask if Crozier's could answer, did your traffic study include any future look at a traffic light perhaps at the end of Bateau Road? Did that include any of that content in your traffic assessment?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, it did look at transportation growth in the area. It did consider the other developments in the area. It did apply a 2.5% growth rate to those numbers over the foreseeable future. And then traffic warrants were run, turn lane warrants were run, and they were not triggered. And again, I can certainly understand as somebody that lives on the street what 100 cars looks like. I lived in a subdivision in Collingwood that had 2 schools, and I know what it looks like every morning at drop-off when the buses and cars are coming and what that looks like. But it is a county road, and so there's just as much of a concern of adding additional traffic controls that aren't warranted as there is putting them in place to meet those triggers. And so it's certainly a discussion we're going to have to continue.
All right, I appreciate your comment. If I can, the project to the south, which is the original subdivision plan, included a traffic light at that end of the town of Nottawa, and is that still in the plan for Nottawa and for this subdivision, that if it moves ahead, continue to get their servicing?
So that would be independent from this application?
Absolutely, it's independent. I'm just looking because it's relevant to traffic in Nottawa.
But yes, the traffic warrants that were triggered in that are still part of the plan. And this subdivision was built off of that traffic study, including all of that as background traffic.
Okay, that's good information. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor MacArthur?
Yeah, just one comment. People talk about the school drop-off, so we know that they're working on a possible expansion of the school, so I'm just hoping that they're considering more trail, or making their traffic flow a whole lot better if and when that happens. So that'll hopefully alleviate some of the problems on Bateau Road itself.
Thank you. Councillor Broderick?
Again, 4 pages of notes, nothing that hasn't already been brought up.
Okay. We'll see it in the staff report, and I'll hold my comments for tonight. Thank you. So this concludes our public meeting with respect to the zoning bylaw amendment for file 26ZBA regarding property located at 57 Bateau Road, Collingwood. We thank all who attended and provided comments for their interest in this matter. All input received with regard to this proposal will be fully considered by staff in their recommendation and by council in their decision with respect to this application. A report regarding this proposal will be prepared for council, who will make a decision concerning this matter at a future meeting. So, okay, thank you very much for that one. Now we're going to move into, do we want a 5-minute break at all? We'll take a 5-minute bio break. We'll let a few people leave who want, and get re-watered, and we'll according to that, we'll be back at 7:15. Thank you. I have no filter. The official plan amendment, file 26-OPA-08, zoning bylaw amendment for file 26-ZBA-05. The applicant is Cameron Sellers and Kevin Burchard on behalf of 2826878 Ontario, Inc., and it's regarding 7582 County Road 9, Creemore. And the planning staff will now start with a brief presentation. I think, Nick, you get to work finally tonight.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, you get my presentation now. My name is Nick Ainley. I'm a community planner here at the Township of Clearview, and I'm here tonight to facilitate a portion of the public meeting for official plan amendment application 26 OPA 08, as well as zoning bylaw amendment 26 ZBA 05, considering lands located at 7582 County Road 9 in Creemore. I'll try and be brief, just to kind of move through, given the number of applications we've had so far tonight. The subject's lands themselves, as indicated at 7582 County Road 9, they're located in the northern portion of Creemore. In terms of the purpose, so the purpose of the official plan amendment is to redesignate the southern portion of the subject lands from the existing future development designation in the township official plan to a residential designation. The proposed zoning bylaw amendment seeks to rezone the same portion of the southern portion of subject lands from development area DA zone to 3 separate zones, to a recreational lands REC zone, a residential medium low density RS3 zone, as well as a residential multiple medium density exception RS5 exception zone. I did omit a slide accidentally in terms of what the exceptions were under the RS5, but basically they're seeking, in addition to the existing provisions of that zone, they're seeking to introduce a new built form for townhouses, which would be a stacked townhouse to a maximum count of 18 units, as well as reduce the minimum lot area requirements for those stacked townhouses from 200 square meters to 120 square meters. So those would be that's the site-specific exceptions that are requested tonight. In terms of the effect, the effect of the proposed applications is permit the future residential development of the subject lands. The proposal seeks to develop the southern portion of subject lands for residential use, consisting of the following number and types of residential units. There's a proposed 8 single-attached dwellings with 6 maintaining frontage onto County Road 9, as well as 2 onto Collingwood Street, with the remainder being more internal to the site, consisting of a mixture of 34 2-story townhouse dwelling units, 48 3-story standard townhouse dwelling units, as well as a total of 34 3-story back-to-back or stacked townhouse dwelling units, for a total of 124 residential units on the subject lands. Next slide. Here's an aerial imagery of the subject lands. They currently support a single attached dwelling as well as attached accessory building kind of centrally to the frontage of the property. The subject lands, a majority are largely naturalized and have a varied topography that slopes naturally from the north to the south. In terms of surrounding uses, it's primarily low-density residential with some environmental protection lands to the north and east, as well as in proximity to institutional lands to the southwest, as well as some mixed commercial lands directly to the southeast. In terms of planning policy, the township's official plan designates the majority of the subject lands as future development, as identified in the yellow hatched area, with a strip along Collingwood Street designated as residential. In terms of zoning, the southern portion of the subject lands is zoned DA, which is a development area zone, with the northern portion of subject lands being zoned rural. The northern and eastern portion of subject lands are also partially regulated by the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority, which you can see in kind of the blue hatching there. Next slide. In support of the complete application that was submitted, there was a number of studies that were provided. There was a planning justification report, a concept plan, and associated draft official plan amendment and zoning bylaw, and there's also a number of technical studies and documents that were submitted, including but not limited to a landscape and arbor plan, hydrogeological assessment, geotechnical assessment, functional servicing, stormwater management, land survey, traffic impact, street grain plan, archaeological assessment, as well as an environmental impact study for the property. This information is all available online as well. Next slide. Notice the applications were given in accordance with the Planning Act. This was done on May 1st. It was done via mailing to all properties within 120 meters of the subject lands, as well as a posting of signage on the property, which I believe was both on Collingwood, Fairgrounds Road South, as well as County Road 9. As indicated, details of the application and supporting materials have been available to the public on the township's website and have also been circulated to relevant internal departments and external commenting agencies. In terms of comments, a number of comments have been received. All comments received prior to the council meeting agenda deadline of May 20th have been published online. Any that are received after that date or this night will form part of the recommendation report that will go to a subsequent council meeting. In terms of general review process, this gives an overview of when the application is received, deemed complete, and tonight's public meeting date. The recommendation report will come to a future council meeting for consideration. And because it is a official plan amendment, it is final approved by the county. So once a notice of adoption, if it is provided, that approval will go to the county for final review and approval, and then the zoning would also be put forward at that time. Here's my contact information if anyone needs to get a hold of me and provide comments. Other than that, I would like to pass it over to the applicant's consultant.
Thank you, Nick. The people representing Innovative Planning Solutions, Cameron and Kevin.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and Mayor Measures as well, and all of the council here. I'll break the mystery. I am Kevin Bouchard, not Cameron Sellers, so I'm here representing the application this evening. I'm a registered professional planner. I work with IPS Consulting, Inc., and I'm sure you're familiar with the firm, and our office is at 58 Wellham Street in Barrie. I'm here this evening representing the owner. It's a numbered company, 2828678 Ontario Inc. These are Ontario development investors and joint venture builders. So they're looking forward to bringing this project forward to conclusion. And obviously it concerns the property at 7582 Louisa Street in Clearview or Creemore. I'll try not to repeat all that staff has said, and I thank you for your presentation. I'd like to build on it because, I mean, there's a lot of people here who have interest in this application, and I'd like to provide as complete a discussion as I can or information in terms of how we're proceeding. As was said by your staff, we are making applications for official plan amendment, and that's to the 2024 plan. Also, the zoning bylaw amendment is to the Clearview zoning bylaw 06-54. Now, we've been informed by staff that they're working on a new zoning bylaw that will sort of be developed over the coming months. And so we're interested in working with staff, of course, in migrating this application and developing standards that we think are appropriate for this development and reflecting those in the new bylaw. We're also bringing forward an application for a draft plan of subdivision. And it's not the typical lots and lines plan that you'll see. This is a draft plan of subdivision, which will allow us to come forward with a common element condominium application. So it's really a technical application. My intent or our intent would be to go through at least the first circulation as we are and the first review, and then come back to council with a draft plan application for consideration. It's just more efficient and leads to a lot less rework for us and for your staff and others. So as was mentioned, the development is for 124 residential units, 8 single-family detached residential lots, 32 two-story standard townhouse dwelling units, 43 three-story standard townhouse dwelling units, and 34 back-to-back townhouse dwelling units. And there's specific intent in the layout and development of this plan that I'll get into as I go along that is speaking to the types and arrangement of the uses on the property. Emma, next slide, please. Oops, was that 2 slides? There you go. Thank you very much. So I want to provide a point of clarification here, building on your staff's comments. We're dealing with an application for official plan amendment and rezoning of the property that deals with only the south half of the property. The total property is approximately 6 hectares, 6.05 hectares in area, and the bottom portion is almost half of that, 2.9 hectares. And it has, of course, frontage along Fairgrounds Road, Louisa Street, and Collingwood Street. And It's a very different property represented in the official plan as well. The southern portion of the property is within the settlement area boundary. The northern portion isn't. And that has implications in terms of servicing and timing for the property going forward. So while we've shown the whole of the property, because that's how it's legally described, we are coming forward with only development applications on the southern portion of the property, the 2.9 hectares. Next slide, please. This slide is providing a context analysis, and as was mentioned, we are in the northern perimeter of the Creemore. And in that sense, the 2.9 hectare property is really looking at building on the built fabric and infrastructure that already exists in the Creemore community. Surrounding land uses are low-rise residential and primarily single family. Can I grip my drink here? And primarily single family. But also you'll see open space surrounding the property, but you will also see two additional uses that I want to mention. The institutional uses are the Nottawasaga Creemore Public School and also the District Recreational Center. So those two are contributing, I guess, to the context of development in the area. The master servicing plan that's being prepared by staff and was published in 2024 identify these lands, the southern portion of these lands, as core service area. And this means that they're part of the existing servicing area and would expect to see development in the 2021 to 2041 timeframe. The northern portion of the property is not in that same service area, and it has a much extended consideration for development timing. I want to also say that our client, 2828678, is a participating member in the Creemore landowner group. So in terms of funding these studies and moving forward, so they're shouldering some of that. And I wouldn't suggest that by any means it's the majority. They're a very small owner in a large group, but they are engaged, and we're looking to bring that process to fruition. Next slide, please. This slide speaks to the picture to the OPA designation, but I'm going to go a little deeper than that. I want to start at the provincial policy statement level. And the provincial policy statement at 2024 contains policies 2.16, 2.23, and 2.3, which encourage an appropriate range of housing to meet the projected needs of current and future residents. This application, from our perspective, assists the municipality in providing an increased range of housing options, encouraging residential intensification, which is a priority in the official plan. It promotes densities that efficiently utilize lands and resources and infrastructure. And at some point, and as it comes forward, and that it does support transit supportive development as we go forward into the future. In speaking to the Simcoe County official plan, policy 3.5 of the official plan designates the lands as a settlement area. And again, that's focusing development in urbanized settlement areas, compact built form, using efficient use of land and water and sewer and infrastructure services. It's promoting the development patterns that minimize land consumption and servicing costs and promote healthy and complete communities. So as we see the funneling down of policy from province to upper tier to the municipality, Clearview's official plan always contains many of these priorities and echoes these priorities. But I want to focus on two things if I can. First is policy 4.2.1-1, which is the permitted uses of the residential designation. The residential designation that we're requesting on this property permits a full range of dwelling types consistent with population intensification and density targets. Policy 2.3.2 speaks directly to intensification and density, and it encourages the intensification and infilling within the urban settlement area, providing for three things. First, that a major extension of municipal services is not provided, that we have direct access to a public road, and that adequate public service facilities are available, schools, parks, and as I mentioned in a previous slide, you have recreational facilities, etc. So my point in obviously bringing this application forward, it's considering intensification, and it's meeting the criteria and the specific policy intent of the official plan. And I'm going to just sort of stop at that point in that official plan review. The zoning bylaw application is to rezone the southern portion of the property from a development area, which is a future holding zone, as I'm sure you're well aware, to a range of multiple residential designations, and introducing, in some cases, new built forms in this community. And it's not to overbuild or overdevelop the site, but my client is looking to provide built forms that will appeal to different markets within this community. For example, the back-to-back townhouse is characterized as not having a backyard. Well, what it is in other contexts is ground-based apartment living. You are not responsible for a larger green area. It's a certain, I guess, built form that appeals to people who simply are not looking for that additional responsibility, either for maintenance or management and going forward. So there are a number of built form or adjustments that would be required in the zoning provisions for the medium density housing. And as I said earlier, we'll work with staff through this process to see what's right and appropriate and how it might be accommodated within the next. And I apologize, Emma, I did not ask you to move forward with this slide, but it's fairly straightforward in terms of going from the development application to a range of additional medium density land uses, and including provisions for recreational lands, which are private amenity lands associated with the condominium development. I'd like to speak to the next slide. And it is the land use proposal. And this proposal has an overarching density of approximately 42 units per hectare. And a townhouse density will range from lower than that to the very high end would be probably about 80 units per hectare. So we're somewhere in between in terms of townhouse densities. And I'd like to talk about this plan in terms of what we're trying to do. And I'll start with the single-family lots that are on Louisa Street and Collingwood Street. These are lots that are roughly 50, 60-foot lots in area. And what we're trying to do is replicate the topology of the single-family lots in that area. So that is, there would have been another approach to take that whole block and say, well, how do we make it all work in townhouse development? But stepping back, we're trying to create a transition or a recognition that this is a density that's being brought into this area in an infill setting and providing that sensitivity. Of course, there are single-family homes and there are commercial areas along Louisa Street that back onto the townhouse development. What you'll see in the pink color, the light pink color, are two-story townhouse developments. So what we're trying to do is ensure that the scale in terms of height of the units are comparable. And I know these are single stories, story and a half, two-story houses, but they're not going to be dominated by the height of townhouse units. And we're not promoting overlook, if you will, from these townhouse units to these single-family properties. So as we move into the development, we see higher densities at 3 stories in the middle. We see the back, and they're the light purple. The dark purple are the back-to-back, and on the north edge are 3-story townhouses. And on east and west perimeters, we have the 2 stories as well. So there's a staging of height throughout this to allow for an integration, or a transition is a better word. Now, we may have got it right, and I think a lot of people are going to tell me tonight I got it wrong, but we didn't not think about it. And this is not a development where we tried to put as much as we could. We're trying to manage different types of housing options and opportunities in this development, but also provide for that transition. Along Fairgrounds Road, we see an open space area, natural heritage area, and that, of course, is a tributary going to the Mad River, and so it's drainage for this site. You see a green area, middle site, that's a public amenity area, and underneath that is infrastructure for stormwater management and control. So we're trying to use our space very efficiently in terms of providing for that. So that's what I have to say on the land use perspective. I'm approaching my time. I apologize, Mr. Chairman, but I will just go to the next slide, and it's my next to last slide. Staff have already outlined the range of studies that we put in, and obviously I don't have the time to speak to them in this evening, but I do want to respond to, I've reviewed the comments that have come in, and many of them relate to traffic and issues on traffic. So while I won't speak to the range of these reports in any detail, I can speak to them in general terms, and if I don't have the answer, I will commit to get back to through staff to the residents and council with specific answers. But I would like to speak to the traffic impact study prepared by Tatum Engineering in 2024. It identified that the weekday AM peak hour for trip generation is 62 vehicles. So that would be the morning traffic during the busiest hour, and it's coming at 1 vehicle a minute in and out of the development. And in the afternoon for the weekend peak hour, it's 74 vehicles. When we looked at the placement of this development in terms of local intersections and the roadways, we found that under full development condition, the study area intersections will continue to operate under good operations, good conditions, and this is levels A, B, and C. And in terms of a development area, you almost never see that level of service. So traffic flow, traffic operations, we think is going to be acceptable in terms of what we typically see. Now, so the summary, I guess, is my last slide, and I can almost leave it up there. It's an official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment to create an infill community within an existing residential area. And that's contemplated, I think, in terms of the official plans at the provincial policy statements, official plans at the county level and the local level. We're providing 8 new single-family homes, and the balance will be in 116 new townhouse projects. Our objective is to provide a range of attainable housing options for the future, the existing and future needs. And this is where our developer is seeing the market heading and seeing the opportunity. We think that this policy from a planning point of view is consistent with provincial policy, and it complements local and county and local official plan policies. These are my comments for this evening. There's a thank you slide if you want to get our name out there in terms of, and people want to contact us. And just before I release the mic, I know there's a lot of discussion about these being meetings and council has said many times that this is not a decision meeting. I consider these meetings the start in many cases of a conversation that happens with people. So take down our number, and if you want to reach me, it's Kevin Bouchard, and or if you put the address or a description, I will respond to you personally, and I want to thank you for coming out, residents. I appreciate you may not agree with me, but that's not the point of this evening. But I am prepared to have a conversation and listen to what you have and move forward with this development. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you. If you want to have a seat, and we'll let some people speak and ask some questions and be available for them, so thank you. Questions from the audience, they can be directed or to the applicant, to the agent, or the staff. So we would start welcome to the podium. Please make sure everybody says who they are and proceed. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, Your Worship, members of council and Clearview staff. My name is Sarah Carrier, and I'm here tonight to express concerns regarding the proposed development at 7582 County Road 9 in Creemore. I understand that growth and housing are important. However, I believe this proposal raises serious concerns regarding infrastructure capacity, density, environmental impact, and compatibility with the long-term vision for Creemore. My first concern is wastewater capacity and clean water supply. According to the proposed report, the Creemore wastewater treatment plant currently does not have enough available capacity to support this development. The plant reportedly has approximately 38 cubic meters per day remaining, while this proposal would require approximately 122 cubic meters per day. The existing clean water supply system may technically be able to support the proposed development at this time. However, major upgrades will still be required to accommodate projected future growth, including an expanded water storage reservoir and future system expansion. This raises important questions. Who will pay for these required infrastructure upgrades? What financial burden could fall on existing taxpayers? And should development at this scale proceed before the necessary infrastructure is in place? My second concern is density. Previous servicing and planning assumptions for this site anticipated approximately 45 units. This proposal is now seeking approval for 124 units, nearly triple the originally planned density. Based on the proposal, the density appears to be approximately 42.61 units per hectare, which exceeds the township's official plan's high-density planning range of 24 to 30 units per hectare. Have appropriate traffic studies been completed to assess this increase in density, particularly regarding traffic impacts on Fairgrounds Road? The proposed plan now includes a road allowance within a very short stopping distance between the bottom of the hill and County Road 9. There are also concerns regarding increased parking pressure within the community. Has funding been allocated within the long-term infrastructure planning for the town of Creemore to support this level of growth? Currently, Creemore Public School is already using 2 portable classrooms for students. Will there be any plans or financial contributions from the developer toward future school expansion or additional educational infrastructure to accommodate increased enrollment? My third concern is environmental impact, including stormwater and watershed impacts. The report identifies wetlands, woodlands, watercourse features, wildlife habitat, and Conservation Authority regulated lands on or adjacent to the site. The environmental impact study also states that no direct consultation with regulatory agencies was completed during preparation of the study. Given the environmental sensitivity of the area, I believe additional caution and review are necessary before approvals move forward. I am also concerned about increased stormwater runoff, impacts on the Mad River watershed, and the loss of trees and green space associated with this proposed development. Council is already aware of ongoing water management issues from Fairgrounds Hill down to County Road 9, where there have been repeated flooding concerns over the past several years. In fact, just this past week, the County of Simcoe was repairing and deepening ditches along County Road 9 in response to flooding issues experienced during the last 2 runoff seasons. Given that this area already experiences drainage and flooding challenges, removing what currently functions as a natural swamp and aqueduct system and replacing it with additional hard surfaces and limited green space could significantly increase stormwater runoff and downstream flooding risks. There are also concerns regarding the long-term effectiveness of proposed stormwater management systems, potential water quality impacts to the Mad River watershed, and whether this development is resilient enough to withstand the more frequent and severe rainfall events associated with climate change that doesn't increase the flooding already occurring in this area. My fourth concern is the character of Creemore and the long-term economic impacts of the community. Clearview Township's own strategic plan and sustainable tourism plan identify small town authenticity, rural living, culture, recreation, and tourism as core parts of the municipality's long-term economic vision. Creemore's tourism economy is built on its historic charm, walkable village atmosphere, festivals, local businesses, agriculture, identity, and rural character. To conclude, I would like to quote Clearview Township's vision statement. Clearview Township is a thriving community of small, family-friendly towns that feature a successful agriculture sector and a robust economy. Clearview is a safe and peaceful place to live. We prioritize a clean and healthy natural environment with the principles of sustainability guiding the future of planning for growth and development in the township. I respectfully ask Council to carefully consider whether this proposal aligns with the township's long-term planning vision, fits the scale and character of Creemore, and whether existing infrastructure can realistically support this level of development. I believe growth should occur responsibly and at a pace that respects the community, the environment, and existing infrastructure. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Nick, I'll put you on the hot spot, or you or Dan, just to pull a couple of questions out from her presentation there. On the infrastructure, and particularly clean water, how's the applicant preparing to service this property?
So part of our application submission was a functional servicing report prepared by Tatum Engineering. And we're proposing, obviously, the extension of existing municipal services in this area along Louisa Street, along Collingwood Road to service this property in terms of water and wastewater. So that's the detailed sort of site servicing piece. And of course, there'll be connections brought into the townhouse development and the condominium corporation would be responsible for management of those facilities inside that. The larger issue is the availability of capacity. And I don't have a definitive answer for that today because the study is ongoing, but I can tell you that our client has engaged with the landowner group, Creemore Landowner Group, in helping to identify and bring forward water and wastewater solutions and shouldering those costs at least. And as it moves forward, there'll be an appropriation of those costs in terms of development. So that's part of the discussion, as I said earlier, that's ongoing. So we've engaged to the extent that we can. We're a small development in a large study, and so we're not.
Okay, so just to stop, the question was originally, where's the servicing coming from, not how we're going to service it. If we don't have the capacity right now, you're aware of that. We don't have the water, we don't have the service. So as long as everybody's aware that going in, that this is not, it's not there right now. So I'll just make it clear, we're not worried where the pipes run or anything like that, but I think it's fair to everybody who's here. Dan, did you want to comment on that at all?
Through the chair, I just wanted to say we understand that position.
Okay. I want that clear.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And what I can say is the council is aware that we did the master servicing plan for Creemore. This property was, as Kevin had previously mentioned, was encapsulated in that master servicing plan. The whole development area of Creemore was. What I think Kevin had alluded to is on the horizon. So we're planning right now, work is underway to design the sewage treatment plant to the rated, permitted 1,400 cubic meters a day. So there will be available sewage once those upgrades are complete. Also, at the same time, we're actively investigating additional water for Creemore, a water source, and that is currently ongoing. Okay. So now that this development has joined the Creemore Landowners Group, they would negotiate internally between the four now, I think it's four developers that are part of that landowners group, and they would have to fund and decide who gets what share once that sewage and water is available.
Good. Thank you for clarifying that, because I think it's very important for the people in this room to understand who's paying for it, where it's coming from, and thank you. Okay, next question, please. Come on forward. Oh, we'll get you next, okay?
Hi, Your Honor. I'm Greg Nealon. I've grown up in this town for 25, 30 years. My dad built there. I'm planning to build there. It's been a very small community that everybody it's a very small niche. My concern is the development that's going to happen in the next coming years. You guys I know Mary Street's going to happen. Behind Mary Street's gonna happen. You're now talking a massive influx of people, almost doubling to tripling that town. And it's scary, as anybody here, I'm sure, thinks of. You know, the infrastructure and all that, I'm sure you guys can figure that out. That's not for us to do. But there are concerns of, you know, facilities. We have a hockey arena that's full and people can't even rent it because we don't have the availability. We have 2 pads for curling. We have a school that, as this lady has mentioned, is getting overburdened. You're talking a mass influx of people, and you know that, yes, we're talking about this development, but you know, as a fellow engineer, and I see it every day, you see that development growing, and I know it's coming. And I'm all for growing. Always have been, always will be. It's at what rate are we going to grow? And it becomes very concerning as a local and as somebody who has a 1.5-year-old child who is concerned about theft and, you know, bringing in the wrong people. And that's pretty much my biggest concern is the development and the growing at an exponential rate. On another note, you know, we have the condominiums, the bricks, for example, who aren't selling out. And, you know, you're saying you want, people want places with no grass. Well, the bricks is a perfect example of people don't want that. They're not looking for condominiums. They're looking for single homes with backyards. And I think that's a fair assumption to make. And I'm sorry, but you know, coming from the city, yeah, you don't want that. But here, I think the majority of the people who are moving to this beautiful township are looking for sort of a way to get away from all that, not to get back into it. So it's, once again, I'm all for development. I'm all for growing my little town. I've seen it grow in the past 25 years by double already. And I'm all good with that. It's the concern of mass amounts of population over the course of 20 years. And that is concerning to me for my child's future, for the schooling, for, you know, the infrastructure's not there. We all know that. I think it's going to come. I think it's planned to be developed. And I think it's great that it's going to happen, but I think these small areas that you're going to condense dramatically is very concerning as someone who has grown up around here. And I did consider Creemore as a very safe place, and the more I see this, the more it concerns me as a resident. And it's, I guess that's pretty much all I have to say. I'm all for growth at a proper rate, not at a increased, just to get population in. I think it's nuts, but.
Good. Thank you very much. Can you make sure you fill out the forms? Yeah, and I always remind people from a development point of view, the economy still dictates what happens, and the brick is a good example if people don't want it, so they're good comments. Yes, ma'am, please proceed. We'll get you next, Ron. You're next.
I'm not going to have as nice a presentation as Sarah had.
That's fine. We just love to hear from you.
I've braved mild hypothermia, sitting in this room, waiting this long. And I have a 6-month-old border collie at home who is not in her crate. So I have braved great personal risk.
Can we
tell
tell us your name first? That's all we ask.
I'm Kathy Weber, and I live directly across from the proposed development area. Okay. I'm the one weird new house on Louisa Street between 2 older houses with the massive wide driveway. It's how I describe getting there. I went and read through the engineering report, the proposed planning report, the environmental report, the traffic report, and the stormwater report. I found all of them deficient. The stormwater report does not suggest that there's any flooding on County Road 9, which is a ridiculous supposition considering everybody in this room has seen the flooding on County Road 9. I have a lovely video, which I will email to council later, showing what happens to my backyard when we get a storm like that on Tuesday that we just had last week. It's a river. It's not a river runs through it because it just kind of drains, it doesn't stay. I wish I had a creek. I thought about putting in plants, but water just never stays. It does go into the ground, which is the other problem. Right now, that land across the road absorbs that water. The proposed plan suggests an underground storage tank to hold stormwater. It does not mention any of the stormwater that we've had that flooded the culverts. It suggests that the existing culverts and the existing structure is perfectly suitable for the development. It doesn't say that any extra development is needed to have all that stormwater come off that brand new pavement onto County Road 9 and into my garage. So I need to see a better plan saying that the infrastructure's there, it's completely fine. That water will just go somewhere else. It won't, it will go into my backyard. I don't want the culverts to flood. We all saw what happened to Fairgrounds Road. The county or the township put in how much effort making Fairgrounds look really nice, and the first rainfall we had ate underneath all the asphalt and carried all that gravel down to Mill Street. So I need to see a better plan. Also, they mentioned paving the little pond in the back and paying off NVCA. They said that they found 3 tree frogs. Who in this room has heard the singing right now from the spring peepers? Right? It's a vibrant environmental area, and just to pave it over, I mean, pave paradise and put in a parking lot, right? So those are 2 key things that I nitpicked out of the planning. The other one was the peak traffic hour suggested we had 62 cars. They did not mention in their report that the new development would add 76 cars to that 62 car peak hour. So that's more than 100% increase in traffic. It's not nothing. And we have 10 children living in 2 blocks. All of them either have to cross that street or cross Mill Street. We only have the 1 traffic control at Jardine. We don't have traffic at Mill. We don't have traffic control going across. You're gonna have people turning in and out. There's no proposed sidewalk for that side of the street, so there'd be nowhere for people to come out, walk down, and access Mill Street. If you want to make it a community feel, they are essentially cut off from the rest of Creemore because there's no sidewalk and no crosswalk. And I had one more thing, but my brain is going because, as I said, I'm very cold. But I don't not support some development going on that land, but the high density, I don't feel that there is enough accounting for it, either in the services, the stormwater management, the environmental impact, and the traffic. So I ask council respectfully to at least amend this proposal to not include the high density and to do a better job at displaying the planning documents, because I don't see it. From all the planning documents seemed incredibly generic, and I don't feel that they were accurately researched. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Kevin, can you just identify discrepancy in the traffic impact study that she's talking about? Can you speak to that, please?
I don't know that I can speak to it in the way that she has. I mean, when we do a traffic impact study, we're looking at existing conditions and then the additional incremental traffic that's brought in this development. And that's what we speak to in the report with the peak, morning peak and afternoon peaks of 62 and 74, I think it is, something very close to that. So it's incremental. And then we look at today and in the future, is the system able to manage that? And I don't want to argue the points in the sense that I don't want to challenge the points that are being raised, but these are streets that are collector and arterial roads that are built for traffic. And I'm quite prepared to look into that and respond to the detail.
I think that's important. Because if she'd like to know the increase in traffic, what's anticipated, you've stated what the existing is, what's the increase going to be? And I think that's important that that gets identified.
We can provide that information.
Yeah. The second, go ahead, Nick, if you wanted to talk to that, please.
Thank you, Worship, and through the chair. Just to advise that all technical studies are peer reviewed by the municipal consultants as well, so we will review it and take these comments into consideration.
Okay, I'll throw one more question at you. Is there sidewalks in this proposal?
That is a great question. Let me pull it up. Yes, there are internal sidewalks internal to the site.
Okay. Internal sidewalks.
Internal sidewalks. It is a planned condominium, so it'd be on a condominium road, a private road, but there are internal.
Okay. Kevin, you want to respond to that as well, please?
I think it's a question of detail we're talking about. We're also proposing single-family lots along Louisa. And and it would be reasonable to put single sidewalk in as part of that development for the single-family lots. But it's not going to create a continuous system throughout the neighborhood, and that's the challenge. So there's things that we can do in this development, bringing it forward that at least partially address this issue, and then it would have to be picked up on as well.
Okay, thank you. Okay. We'll start at the front of the room. If that's, I thought I said one lady at the back. Were you? I think you were running up here. No, I just. Okay. This, which one? Who we got? Doug? Okay, we're starting at the front here, right first, and then who do we have? Is that him? Well, that's okay. I'll get them all. Everybody's going to get the chance to speak, so just remember.
I'll try not to be too long. Mr. Mayor, councilors. So my wife Megan and I, we live at 7564. County Road 9, so our backyard will look into this new high density. I don't know where the 2 stories is not going to be overreach or look over into us, because it will. Also because I'm assuming those trees will also have to get cut down, so we'll have even less privacy. One other thing I want to hit on too, and it's been mentioned from multiple people, not only the character of the town, but also this traffic. I'm curious about the traffic report, because if it's just strips on the road measuring cars going past at a certain time frame, I don't think we're taking into account the town vehicles that go through there constantly, especially in the winter, all the agricultural vehicles that go through there, especially around harvest time, and also the fire department. We live on that road. We hear the fire truck consistently. They're one of the busier hauls in Clearview, so I'm just also concerned with, it's not just cars. It's actually all forms of other modes of transportation. That's not including all the cyclists that we get in town during the summer, which is becoming quite a sport that everyone does stop there at, which is great. Also, all the motorcycles. Like, the traffic, I don't think is really accurately shown in the report, in my opinion, as someone who lives on that road. Secondly, and I think this is more important, that road, and I brought up in conversation with other people, they paved either side of Collingwood Street and over on the other side of Jardine, and they didn't do that whole center, and I understand it's county property, but that road's a mess. The potholes in front of Jug City, the potholes that get formed in front of 2 houses down from us where part of the pavement shoots into their property. In front of our house, it always floods. The day we bought our house 4 years ago, Jug City, our property, and the next one flooded. So that also, as I understand, it was the second time in 16 years, but we've had other days since then where there's the amount of rainfall we've had. I walk out to check the culvert because I understand town employees cannot be everywhere at once to help clear that culvert. But that bridge itself is also extremely small. So if they're gonna do this entrance onto Fairgrounds, which already has a blind spot in the winter as well, with traffic coming down, people speeding up, people speeding down, cyclists coming down as well, that entrance does not make sense in any way, shape, or form. I've been on committees and I've seen traffic reports in terms of the roundabout at Blue Mountain when they designed and built it. People said it was going to be great, and it has worked eventually, but it was a long way to get there. I remember looking at the computer and showing what it was, and it never happened for years because roundabouts were new. I'd say people become accustomed to it now. But this is one that is not like that. People are not going to get accustomed, if you've driven here your whole life, to stopping. Also, if you have to come out and it's blind and someone pulls out in front of you, you do not have enough stopping distance if you're going up and over to try and get through traffic to stop in time. So there's a ton of safety concerns, drainage concerns. The density is definitely a problem. In terms of my own opinion, I think it should be developed, as was echoed in a previous statement, in a reasonable manner. But when we have Mary Street, which has not gone forward, another development, and now this one, I agree. I think it's a bit too much too quick. I understand the town does need more housing, but to also echo like the condominiums, yeah, they're not selling. And I also don't see where the affordable housing really is going to come into Creemore when that amount of people, the jobs are just not there. They're either going to have to work remotely or drive from a distance, which there's no public transit, which is fine, but there's no public transit. Taxis and Ubers aren't an option really if you're working. So you're going to look at somewhere in Collingwood, Wasaga Beach, Stayner, like stuff that has transit. So I don't see, like it took my wife and I years to buy a house. And we have two very good jobs and work really hard. So I also don't see where we're going to attract this affordable housing for these people. It's going to be people who will buy multiple ones and probably rent them out. So I have the same concerns as everyone else. I'm all for developing it. I think the houses at the front, the single dwellings, are a start. I think you could redo it to expand that, maybe do some combined townhouses at garages with some yards, because it is true. No one buys in Creemore, I'd say on a whole, to live in a condo. They don't. It's not what the town is known for, and I just want to echo those concerns along with everyone else here. Thank you.
Thank you. That was for good, very fair comments. Ron, you're next. Go ahead.
Hello, worship and council. My name is Ronnie McDonald. I've lived in Creemore all my life. I was born there. I live on 268 Collingwood Street, which is up the hill, basically across the road from where this is proposed. And first of all, I am not against development, but I am against this development. It's totally ridiculous to even think about this in the first place. Dwellings back to back, and they're saying you don't need green space. We do need green space. And where is all the cars going to park? I've seen these type of subdivisions. The snowplow operators cannot even get down the street because they're parked out on the street. This proposal doesn't even show a portion of the parking that these facilities need. Like when he says 60-some people or cars travel through there, that's ridiculous. Most families that have to live have to have 2 cars, first of all, and maybe 3 cars. And to come in and out of there, and I've seen the water that runs down that hill in front of my place. It's like a river. We don't get small rainfalls anymore. It's 2-inch rainfalls. And to have all that pavement, the people that are living downstream from that are the ones that are going to suffer. Like the lady that was just talking about it running in her driveway and into her garage. And that house, those 2 houses next to her, I was born and raised in one of them. And I do know the water that comes off that county road. There's poor drainage. The water that comes down that hill in the spring of the year, there's no way that that ditch can handle any more water. Like those houses are getting flooded every year. And put a ditch down Fairgrounds is going to have to be a lot deeper. That bridge is going to have to be widened with a lot bigger capacity going through there. You can just go on and on and on, but who's going to pay for all this? Just to put in a few townhouses. Creemore is not ready for townhouses. So that's what I've got to do.
Well, thank you, Ron. Gentleman in the green there next, please.
So my name's Gary Walters. I live on Mill Street, just a short way down from County Road 9. I think I'm probably repeating a lot, but I think it's worth putting the volume of concern out there. One of my biggest concerns is the exit from there onto Fairgrounds Road. I've sort of driven up and down that just recently. I think that's a completely blind spot. It is an area which has trouble in the winter. It's quite steep, and you do see cars who are sliding down that road, and you've got an exit there. I think we're just asking for trouble. And again, the comment that was made before about cyclists coming down that hill, I think that's a very dangerous thing to go. I do believe that Creemore needs to grow to support the infrastructure, the businesses we have in town. We do need to grow, but we have that whole area over by Mary Street that's been approved, that has not moved forward. And I don't believe we need the density that there is in this spot. Again, I can see the infill argument, and I think it's valid, that where we have space in the area, in the building area, that we should be putting stuff in there. But I just can't believe the 124, that sort of density makes sense. And the other thing is that the town, while I said we need more people to support the businesses, we have as much people as we can support through a lot of the infrastructure, so the school and the recreation area. So I think there is more that needs to be considered there. So I just wanted to add my voice to the volume of the concerns. Thank you.
Good. Thanks, Gary. Appreciate that.
I'm Bill Mann. I live 1 block south of this potential development, but I'm going to go back to some issues I talked to here before, and that's the issue of one issue that people talk about Creemore when they come into it, whether it's old folks or new arrivals, and it's a treed environment, it's a green town. And the issue that I'd like to raise, and I don't think it's been addressed sufficiently in the proposal, is how do you make that a treed space when you have multi-storied buildings, as you will have in that density? When I drive up that hill and look down and look across that town, what I see are treetops and the odd house top showing. Looking down that hill with this development, what we're going to see is a series of rectangles with roofs and not much green. So that's what the buyers of these units are going to see, of course, and they will miss that prime feature of this town, and that's this green. So my request would be to reflect some studies we did back when we were looking at the original eastern development, and that's how many trees per unit would be reasonable in construction. We did a study, I did a study, there were 3.5 trees per house in Creemore, in the treed part of town. I'd like to see at least 2 trees and an absolute minimum 1 tree per dwelling. But since they're all multiple unit dwellings, how the devil does that manifest itself for buildings of that kind? But I think if this development gets done, it needs to reflect the soul of the town. And the soul of that town is its trees. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Anybody else wish to come? Do I see some hand? Oh. Okay, come on up. We'll be you first.
You're next, I promise.
Hi, my name is Val Smith, and I am a Dunedin resident and a local realtor. A lot has been covered already from what I was going to say, so I won't repeat it. Currently, there's a significant amount of housing inventory within Creemore and the surrounding area. Existing homes remain on the market for extended periods. We're seeing prices drop. We don't have these onslaughts of people coming anymore like we had during COVID. There's 8 unsold builder units in the bricks, plus many more resale units, and those prices are continuing to drop. So the point of a demand and need for condos is very, very relevant here. And then, of course, we've got the Mary Street where we have approvals on the eastern side of town. So these circumstances raise an important question. Does the community currently require additional residential lands now to be brought forward? Or would it be prudent for us to allow existing approved and available housing opportunities to be absorbed first? The designation of these lands as future development was intended to provide flexibility for the long-term growth of Creemore. Once such lands are converted to residential designations, that decision is difficult to reverse. Given the changing nature of housing demands, infrastructure requirements, environmental consideration, and community priorities, retaining these lands for future consideration instead of converting to residential now with this new plan, I think are really important for council to consider. Thank you.
Thank you, Val. I see a couple of hands going up down here. Come on up, sir. You can, oh, sorry, ma'am. I'll get you next, okay?
Good evening. My name is Chris Gallup, and I live on Fairgrounds Road in Creemore. I live in one of the 6 houses at the bottom of the hill. Our first reaction to the proposed subdivision was sadness that we were going to lose some part of our rural life. We look across at Jardines Fields, yes. But we have a very serious objection to the construction of an entrance road off Fairgrounds Road into the subdivision. The proposed entrance is not very far north of County Road 9, just a little bit up from Jug City, actually. And that corner at the intersection of County Road 9 and Fairgrounds Road is so narrow at the moment, it's very hard to get 2 vehicles through there side by side. And it's a bottleneck. A new subdivision entrance would only make that situation worse, creating backups onto both County Road 9 and Fairgrounds Road. Traffic year-round has increased greatly up and down 10 Hill since we moved in over 38 years ago. A lot of the downhill traffic comes flying down the hill, making the proposed entrance a dangerous situation. A lot of the traffic is now large vehicles. The proposed location of the entrance would shorten any vehicle's stopping time. In the winter, 10 Hill can be pretty treacherous, and we get to watch vehicles sliding up and down the hill, some backing up to the corner because they can't make it up to the hill. This past winter, I witnessed an SUV running into the back of a school bus partway down the hill. So my opinion, my wife's opinion, is that a new entranceway off Fairgrounds Road would only increase the risk to vehicles and people using both fairgrounds and the new entrance. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. No, I've got this lady up front first. Yep, go ahead. Come on up.
We got one.
No, we got one here. No.
Okay.
Good evening, Your Worship and Council. I just want to thank the other speakers. I'm not going to be as eloquent as Sarah.
What's your name first of all?
So
please?
my name is Kieran Repke, and I actually live directly across from the proposed development. I bought the house 16 years ago. It was built in 1949, Basement dry as a bone, no sump pump, nothing. And I credit that to that beautiful sponge that when the water moves down the hill, it's got that beautiful, slow absorption. And because I'm far enough away from Collingwood, I'm in the middle, so I'm far enough away from Collingwood and Fairgrounds that I don't get the runoff from the roads. So I guess my first question would be is if a development like this happened and all of a sudden my basement started flooding, which it's never done since 1949, because they never even had a sump pump in there, then who's responsible for that? Again, not opposed to development. We've got a lot of development already on the books. I have real issue with the traffic study. I don't see 60 odd cars. If it's 124 units, that's 2 cars per family. That's over 200 cars. The busiest time in Creemore is not rush hour. Creemore's a tourist town. That road is so busy on the weekends, and I live right on that road. That road is busy, busy, busy. Huge convoys of motorcycles. We've got farm vehicles that use that road all day long. It's a main road for farm vehicles. And again, the cyclists. So, and I think it's really disingenuous to talk about that, you know, we're offering low-income housing or more affordable housing when we really know it's just about making money, right? Like, let's not beat around the bush, right? It's just like how much money, how many houses can we put on that lot? So, again, I have all those same concerns, and I just wanted it to be on the record that I'm opposed to this development as it's proposed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay.
Hi, I'm Caitlin McDonald. I'm a 5th generation resident and owner of property in Clearview. I grew up at 268 Collingwood Street, right across from it. Heard all the frogs since I was little. And I have a few issues with this development. Not against development. I think we need the right development. I think we need to complete the development that's already in process. Also, as a young resident of Creemore, trying to own your own property and stay in your hometown is difficult. Majority, actually, all of my friends growing up could not afford to buy and stay in Creemore. Our population in Creemore is aging. That aging population wants to stay in their town, maybe their older homes or their 2-story homes is not where they can sustain to stay in Creemore. There is no development in Creemore to allow older retired people to stay in their town. So I think we need, as a township, to start thinking about that type of future development and planning to support younger families who want to stay in Creemore and have the green space, but also the older generation that want to stay in Creemore and have maybe smaller green space and bungalow type development instead of multi-floor housing. Like my father said, vehicles, multiple vehicles per property, parking, laneways, we need to consider that to keep them off the road and keep our roads safer. Another concern is our emergency services are not at the level to be able to sustain and to respond to those emergencies that that increased population is going to demand, as well as multi-floored properties. Where is the funding going to come from? Who's going to be servicing those halls and those services? Flooding has become an issue in Creemore the last few springs. It doesn't take, no offense, city development and developers and engineers to figure out what long-term residents know from living and working and being in this town for generations. We know what happens in our town and the shifts that are happening, and this development is going to make those issues worse, not better. My last point is also the services in our downtown core. We don't have a bank anymore. And I'm going to close at that. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Caitlin. Heidi, you get to speak. Come on.
Thanks so much. Hi, my name is Nicole Robinson-Weiss. I am also a multi-generational Clearview Township resident. I live 2 doors down from John and Megan. I'm the house that my kids can't play in my front yard because this size chunks of pavement are being thrown in there from the 64 traffic that's going by. I stand in my front driveway and hold my kid's hand to go to school, my 4-year-old, and we wait for 5-10 minutes as we wait for multi-vehicles to go by. Once we get on the other side, no one's mentioned this, I agree with everything else, but no one else has also mentioned that the sidewalk on County Road 9, she's bad, guys. Like, I'm sorry, she's bad. You guys are fixing up every other one in town, but County Road 9, I broke in 2 strollers on that sidewalk. It's up and down. I can't take my kid for a bike ride on that sidewalk. I have to go over to the school that Sarah misspoke. There are 3 portables at our school. It's a lovely school, but it does not have the capacity yet. Also, some things no one's mentioned is snow removal. The last few winters, our snowbanks have been higher than my 6'2" husband. If you put those, if you put those 6 houses on County Road 9, where is that when you guys cut the snow, a lot of it gets pushed there. Where are those snowbanks going to be pushed? Where is all the snow clearing coming from? There's those concerns as well. Like my fellow residents have said, we are not opposed to people coming in. Creemore is the town with the big heart. Like, that is literally our name. We want people to come. We're a welcoming town. We just want it done in a way that fits in with our town. If you look at the houses that have already started on Mary Street, they considered that. They looked at what we had, and they made town or homes that fit. The recreational space that, I'm sorry if I misunderstood, but it seemed that that they're putting in a recreational space for specifically the condo. If I'm wrong, please correct me. And like, I'm sorry for your name, said, our recreations are overrun. Our kids are not having as much to do as they used to. The rink is hard to rent out. It's full, it's busy. The ice times are ridiculous for our children because we are a growing town and we accept that. But all these things need to be considered when you put in 124 new people, new families, because then the rest of us are also going to struggle. Thanks.
Thank you. Come on up. Did you turn the mic off?
Hi,
Okay.
my name is Dan Morit. I live at 253 Collingwood Street, and I'm not going to be as eloquent as some of these other people that have talked here. First of all, I'd like to thank you for being so considerate of us that live on Collingwood Street, Louisa Street, of just putting up two-story condos so it doesn't bother us. That's a real nice of you. My main question right now, no one has talked about, first of all, no one's talked about the house that's on the property right now. What's the intention of the house that's going to be there? You planning on tearing it down? Yes,
Just tell
please.
it yes or no. That's fine.
So you're going to tear down a house that's 100+ years, no consideration for the historical value of it at all? Feel free to answer. These people would like to know that too, I'm sure they would.
Yeah, I was saying to you that I already indicated that our intention would be to move the house.
So no consideration for the historical value of it. Okay, that's fine. Next question is the houses that are going to be on Collingwood Street. Obviously, they're going to be connected to the town sewer. Is that correct?
Through the chair, yes, it will be ultimately connected to the town sewer, water, and
So you're aware that the people like my family that are on Collingwood Street, we aren't on the sewers right now. We're on septic, and we're quite happy with that. So my question to the town council is, if the sewers come up for these houses that are going in on Collingwood Street, are we going to have to be connected to it? And if that's the case, who's going to pay for it? Do I have to pay for that, or out of the goodness of their hearts, are they going to pay for it?
I'm writing these questions down, so give me a minute.
Yeah, sure.
So is there any other questions you have, or is that?
No, that's my question.
Okay, thank you. Dan, Dan, is that a question?
We have
for
a
you,
winner.
or would that-
Thank you, Chair. So in this type of situation, this scenario, we have experience in the past where municipal services are needed for new development. The developer would be required to install the sewer mains, possibly drop off sewer laterals to each property. Decisions on when to or forced connection, that would be a discussion that council would have to have. But typically, if sewers are available within an urban setting, then properties are expected to connect to them. But the cost of that would be for the property owner. However, the majority of the costs, depending on the scenario, would be borne by the developer at the time when they put the sewer mains in.
So they'll pay for the sewer in, but it's up to me to pay for the connection, whether I want it or not. Because I've got a perfectly viable septic bed that I don't need, that is working fine. And I'm sure everyone else on Collingwood Street that's here right now can say the same thing. Why should they bear the cost of being connected to the sewers?
Again, like I'm saying, is a typical scenario. It's right now, I would consider it very premature to know exactly the sizing, the costs, all those types of things. But typically, as I stated, if there are municipal services at a property line, for an example, are you connected to municipal water?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so the municipal water main goes there to the reservoir. And so similarly, when that water was installed, there would have been a requirement for connection or a need for connection at the time.
Yeah, but once again, you're not really answering my question. We have no need to be connected to the sewer system right now. We all have viable septic systems. And I can see my neighbors nodding their heads in agreement here.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it has to happen like the next day, but eventually a septic will fail. And then that decision would be connect to the municipal water or redo your septic. There is some timeline that you would meet the threshold that would require you to connect to either municipal services or redo your septic system.
Yeah. And I do have one more comment here because the lady back here she mentioned that with the increase of these people, we need to have an increase of emergency services. All of a sudden, now we're bringing in another 124 homes. So that could be upwards of maybe 400 more people in town. We need more emergency services. We need more schooling. We need more recreation. Who's going to bear all these costs? Like, who's going to pay for all this?
First of all, a lot of the stuff you're asking about goes through the development charges. So contributions to fire, emergency services, the county gets their fingers in it for ambulance service, and the school board gets their fingers in it for school and stuff like that. So it's not expected to be a burden for existing owners in that regards. So, Dan, can I just ask you one quick question? Do we, in this proposal, do they even know where the sewer lines are going to be run at this time? So they may not even go up Collingwood Street, is what we're saying?
No, they may not, and I understand that, but I mean, there's a chance they are going to go up there, because if you're going to put two houses in there, there's a good chance that they're going to put the sewers up there.
Anything, yeah, I won't disagree with you, because that makes sense, so.
That's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah, no, that's good. Kevin, did you have something you wanted to contribute to this?
I can speak to that. I mean, it's not been, a decision hasn't been made. We've done a functional service report, not a detailed design, and it would allow for, or contemplate, I'm just going to not try to speak. Oh, my apologies. My apologies. So we've done a preliminary functional servicing report, which is typically what's done at this stage. We haven't done a detailed design, but certainly one of the options we have has been discussed is running water, and well, water's there, but sanitary up Collingwood, so to make that connection. But there's possibilities as well with the two lots that are being created to service them through the condominium development as well. So there is another option there. We haven't come to a conclusion on that at this early stage in design, and we haven't had that level of detail and discussion with staff. And so it's still very much a discussion.
That's good enough for now. Thank you.
So the two lots in question on Collingwood Street, and because I live right beside the lot there, there's a dip in the land there. So you're going to have to bring in fill. That's going to change the whole water course down there. We already have water running issues down Collingwood Street, and it's affecting people all the way down Collingwood across 9. I have to fix our driveway on a regular basis already as it is. It's only going to be worse if you change that.
Okay, Dan, that's okay. Is there, you're concerned about the water drainage on Collingwood Street?
Yes.
And the concern. So I just want to make sure our staff is aware that, I mean, we're going to identify with this going forward and make you hear these comments sort of thing, so.
Yeah, because there's already an issue there now. And as neighbors, as I said, I just naturally just fix it.
Yeah.
When it rains and it washes out our driveway, I fix it. But it's going to get worse. If you start building up the land there, we're going to have more water runoff, and it's going to even be worse.
Okay.
That's my point.
Yep, no, that's a fair comment, and I think a lot of the comments have come forward about drainage, the drainage plans and stuff like that. And I'd like to, say some of it's preliminary, and we don't know, just like it was said about the sewer, we don't know where it's going to run yet. So the comments are heard.
Well, and then to your point then, Mr. Van Severen, if we don't know yet, then I would suggest that we don't rush ahead and approve this.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on up.
I'm William Van Severen. I've born in Creemore, lived my entire life on King Street. Beating a dead horse here with the fire department, but it would bottleneck response times because anyone who lives there sees the sea of green lights coming down there every night. And the new Creemore people, they don't know what a green light means. They don't know to pull over. So you're just, half the time people end up sitting there behind you flashing a green light and they don't know what's going on. So, thank you.
Thank you. And those are definite concerns as we grow. As a community, we look at our services. So, and definitely the fire service is our responsibility. So thank you for those comments. Anybody else wish to speak?
Hi, my name's Shane Rose. I live at 2889 Fairgrounds Road South, pretty much right where the proposed intersection will come out. And when I read the letter and I opened it, my first thought was, I wonder how many cars are going to end up in my driveway. Because as multiple people have said, I guarantee one thing that's not in their traffic study is they did not see how long it takes a car to stop coming down that hill when it's covered in snow. Because it's going to create a lot of accidents. And same thing, as I said, beating the dead horse, but I looked at the traffic thing, there's not one cyclist on there. And if you've ever driven on Fairgrounds Road in the summertime, there is a lot of cyclists, a lot. I have a question for Nick. You said that the studies are peer-reviewed. What do you mean, so when you peer review the study of the traffic study, do you guys go out and replicate the study? What do you mean by peer review?
Through the chair, thank you for the comment. So I might defer to a Public Works Department, but as a general overview, any sort of technical study that's submitted, such as a functional servicing report or engineering report, is peer reviewed by an additional engineering firm to double check and cross-reference to make sure that the assumptions are accurate, or if there's something that they omitted or missed that we did want to see, that they would make sure it is included. So we don't usually take the initial application at its, or...
Okay, so what I was talking about the traffic stop, do you guys peer review that as well?
Correct.
So who, so an engineer, who's peer reviewing the traffic thing? How are they confirming if they're not going out and doing a similar study?
So it would be up to the engineers to do their review of it in terms of what engineering standards they would review. Again, it may be more for Public Works to address this technical comment, but it would be up to them to make sure it meets all required engineering safety requirements as per laid out in their technical documents, basically.
Okay, good to know. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Shane. Any other questions? Going once, going twice. Any other questions? Going 3 times? Okay, I am going to go to questions to our council. Councillor Broderick, any questions?
No, I think we've had a pretty good discussion. I've got nothing else to add that hasn't already come up.
Thank you. Councillor MacArthur.
Yeah, through the chair, presume a Dan or Patty question. Have you had any experience or any insight on an underground stormwater management system like this is proposed? Any comments?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, pull the mic. Yeah, get over there.
Through you, Mr. Chair. I have had previous experience with underground tanks. There are a number of proposed ones and some site plans that we currently have before us. The proposed system is a storage tank that is proposing to infiltrate into the groundwater. And one of the comments from our peer review consultants was the fact that there may be an issue with the elevation of the existing seasonal or existing groundwater, and that they need to go back and take a look at that. Underground tanks are becoming more popular in areas where there are less land to use for a traditional stormwater facility, basically.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of that because, as you know, the last council meeting, I think, or two, we spent, what, $150,000 to clean out an above-ground stormwater pond that has to be done every 20 years. So I can see the savings in this kind of system if it's appropriate. Thanks.
Thank you. Mayor Measures.
I have a pretty simple, basic question, if I can, to Kevin. Mr. Bichard, is that right? Yes. Okay, Kevin, come on up for a minute. I know that you're the planner and you've been hired by the owner of this property you represent the developer.
Correct.
Correct? So the developer is a numbered company at this time, so it's 282678, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so is there a person behind that?
Yes.
Okay. Is that person here tonight?
No.
Okay.
They're watching the...
They're watching online?
The line, okay. Yeah, the YouTube, as far as I understand.
Kevin, can I just ask you to extend an invitation to the person who represents that company to meet with me as the mayor Because to be quite honest, when a development comes to this community, I think it's appropriate that you meet with the mayor and you hear some of the visions of what this council table has been trying to do.
Right.
And have a conversation about density and styles of architecture and how it, projects have to work within the communities that we have. I want you to know, Kevin, that there was if you don't mind, give me a second, I got to find it, because there was a lady here who said something really awesome, and I just want to re-quote it, because this is exactly what comes, here it is. Nicole, where are you, Nicole? Hey. She said, it's got to fit into our town. And so the bottom line is that any project that we do here has to be complementary to our community, all of it. So it has to be complementary to Clearview, it has to be complementary to Creemore, it has to be complementary to Collingwood Street. So everything that we do in development in our town has to make sure that it's complements. Now, yes, it does have to work. We all have to work within the boundaries of the Planning Act. We have to work within the official plans. Our official plan right now is undergoing a review. There is a density change, a width change that was talked about in the previous application. There's a whole lot of changes that are being proposed, because we do absolutely hear, and you heard from the people here tonight, that they want to support development, bringing new people to our community. But whatever we build has to complement the community we already have, okay? So we have to consider that. So I just want to be clear, I'm not trying to stop any process here, and I'm not trying to be out of line, but I'm very prepared to give my stock speech that I give to every developer who comes here and says something about building in our community. And I want to point out, you're building our community, we're not building your community.
So if I may respond through the chair. First of all, Your Worship, you did extend that invitation off, and I'm sure he heard it, and I'll undertake to help facilitate it. I've heard a lot tonight, and I've made some contacts and connections with people who are involved in the community, and this is a discussion that we're starting, and it will continue. And I'll just make that statement without
100%. Thank you, Kevin, and you're right. Discussions are really important, and that's why it's really great that you're here making this presentation, and we're all hearing this here tonight, and it gives us an opportunity to consider a lot of factors before decisions ever get made. Okay, so I would hope that your ownership and yourself as a planner would understand that we have expectations here too as a community. So that's why we're doing this. Thank you.
Through the chair, if I can, noted is all I say. Your comments are noted. Thank you.
Thank you. Your Worship, you're good? Thank you. Councillor Deneen?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Mine have pretty much been covered, but the school board has to be consulted. And the Fairgrounds Road, I totally agree with everybody with their comments about going out on Fairgrounds Road. I have trouble, I shouldn't talk like that, but I have trouble stopping at that. And even getting out there onto County Road 9. It's always, especially if you just want to even go across it. You can't get across it with vehicles coming and going on that road, especially on a weekend. No, it's just fact. It's just stuff that I know myself. And the parking, do the townhouses include garages?
Through the chair, and this is a number I should have mentioned, and I do apologize, so thank you for giving me an opportunity. We're not seeking any exemptions from the parking standards. We're proposing 273 spaces, and there will be parking in garages and on the building, and some parking on the visitor parking on the streets, etc., and on visitor parking spaces within the development itself.
Okay, so there will be garages. So ideally, if the townhouse has a garage, it's got 2 parking spots, one in the driveway, one in the garage?
Typically, yes.
Okay, because the parking spaces there aren't nearly enough for what we would see in something of that density. Thank you.
My apologies. I should have been clearer on that in my presentation.
Thank you.
Councillor Deneen, that's good. Phyllis, you're good? Thank you. Councillor Beelan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A lot of good comments here. I've made lots of notes. I want to thank everybody for reminding me why I avoid Fairgrounds Road. I'm going to add on to Robert MacArthur's comments about these stormwater ponds. There's tank. A big surprise to me when I got on council is that we have to pay to clean them out. That's kind of surprising that you think they last forever, but then, 30, 40, 50 years go by pretty quick, and then it's the township's responsibility to clean out these ponds. These tanks, from my limited time on the computer here to see what they're all about, they say some of them last up to 50 years. That's the best case scenario. So you're probably going to have to plan on replacing them every 30 years. Which sounds to me a bigger expense, and you're probably going to have to pump them out a few times during those 30 years. Where's that money come from? The developer makes these ponds or tanks, and I know you did these tanks because you want to put an amenities area, and that way you can do both, the tank underneath the amenities area, rather than having them separate. But once you hand that over to the township, it's our problem now, not yours, and we have to come up with money to pump these things out or clean them and replace them periodically. So that's a big concern to me, is not only is it a stormwater management system, it's a big expense later on. These ponds are bad enough, let alone a tank. So I don't understand them really well, but I have a problem with those tanks. Have you used them before, or how often do they have to be pumped? Or?
If I may, Mr. Chair, yeah, I've used stormwater tanks in different capacities and different situations in my career, not as an engineer, but as a land use planner. But let me speak to two things. First of all, a lot of discussion has been about stormwater management and control. As in every other development, we're required to control development or runoff from our site to pre-development conditions. So that's the standard that gets employed in all developments, essentially, in Ontario. We're not unique to that. And that addresses a number of comments that have made. And I'm not trying to minimize the issues that people have spoken to. I think it's worth a look for us to say, well, what's happening on Louisa Street? What's happening on Collingwood? What's happening on Fairgrounds? The second point I'd like to make is that this is a condominium development. So the ownership of that tank and the maintenance and the management or replacement ultimately is the responsibility of that development. So we are not transferring that obligation to the municipality.
Thank you. Patty, did you want to talk about that? I know you're the expert. Well, we'll put you in that hot spot right now.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, as a condominium corporation, the condominium will be responsible for all of the infrastructure and the roads, the snow removal, everything. It's a private development. Public Works operations staff wouldn't be involved at all.
Something else I learned as a councillor. Thank you.
Councillor Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Tonight's 4 meetings have been, what they are supposed to be is an information highway. What we hear tonight is we hear townships proposals on their side, developers proposals on their side, and we hear from the public. Without that consultation with all groups involved, council that sit here do not have any idea on the problems, the issues that are needed to be resolved. So I have tons of questions, but they are more suitable for when staff come back with staff report for answers, and if not, from developer. And then we will move from there, and things may have to be redeveloped, redrafted, relooked at. But I'm very grateful of the information highway that we've received this evening for all 4 developments. And I'm looking forward to staff report, and I'm looking forward to my questions to be answered whenever that report comes forward.
Thank you, Councillor Walker. That's good. A quick question, Kevin. You brought up the topic of condominium. Who will be the owner of the condominium? Will it be the people who have bought properties, or will it be the developers, the numbered company?
The owner of the condominium is the condominium corporation. And what happens, this is what we're proposing. Let me back up. We're proposing a common element condominium, and there are many different types of condominium.
That's right, there are,
So,
so I just wanted
so the person who is in the condominium really has a right of use and occupancy rather than a physical ownership on a deed of property, as you would in a single-family lot. So the answer is that the condominium corporation would own the condominium, and it would be a condominium agreement where each of the residents have it's almost like a license or a capacity to occupy that or share in that operation. So they will share in all the costs, but they have an exclusive use provision for their property, their unit, and possibly an area like a driveway or maybe a small backyard around it.
Yeah, that's fine. That explains it. The developers are not involved with it. The people who buy will be controlling it, so that's good.
Correct.
Thank you. Okay, I think we've got everything beat up as good as we can tonight. So this concludes the public meeting with respect to the official plan amendment file 26 OPA-08 and zoning bylaw amendment for file 26 ZBA-05 regarding 7582 County Road 9, Creemore. We thank all who attended and provided comments for their interest in this matter. All input received with regards to this proposal will be fully considered by staff in the recommendation and by council in the decision with respect to this application. A report regarding this proposal will be prepared for council, who will make a decision concerning this matter at a future meeting. As there are no other public meetings, Your Worship, I will pass the chair back to you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. You always do a fine job with this. Well done. Council, moving on to item number 4 on our agenda, which is the confirmatory bylaw recommendation. Be it resolved. Bylaw 2638, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the May 27, 2026 council meeting, be presented or read a first, second, and third time finally passed, 27th day of May, 2026. Mr. Beelan, thank you. Mr. Broderick, thank you. Any questions on the bylaw? Seeing none, all in favor? Confirmatory bylaw carries. At this time, we'll call for the motion to adjourn. Madam Clerk, it calls it 9:02, something like that? 9:02 p.m. Moved by Mr. MacArthur, seconded by